What's going on? What's going on? How you doing?
Peace, peace.
Welcome to the Wednesday show. How's everybody?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Feeling good? All right, what's good to see you guys, man.
People, what's up? What's up? What's up?
What up? What's going on? Straight like that. What's going on? Track Beats,
What's up,
True
fellas? Peace
Table,
to the
Miss
kings
Ann,
and queens.
One Country Cookie.
Hey
Long time.
guys.
How y'all doing? It's good to see you guys, man. We got an excellent show here for you guys. I came across this video. I will be posting the original link in the description after this broadcast. But it was titled "Don't Get Married Until You've Watched This." I kind of switched it up a little bit and said, "Until you look at this." It made some excellent points in here, which I think is very valuable to the folks that are looking to get married. What's going on, Dale Matthew, Branu, Edward Gilbert, the Bigger Play Podcast. My Jane Wooford, how you doing? Hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you are catching this on the replay, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Well, we're gonna go ahead and hop right into it. All right. So we are going to be reacting to this video. I'll probably stop it maybe every 2 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and chime in. And we'll go ahead and get up out of here. Sound cool?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's share.
All right. What's going on, Mrs. Hank? How you doing? The Hank should be pulling up any second. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off, and then we'll react. Here we go. What's going on, Nike?
I had a conversation a couple of days ago actually with James Sexton, who's the divorce expert. He's a divorce lawyer by trade, but he knows more about divorce than anybody else. And he said to me there's two things which cause people to end up in his office going through a divorce. Number one is cheating, infidelity. And the second thing is money problems in the relationship. So I find it especially sort of pertinent to have this conversation with you about couples' relationship with money. Because clearly one of the things that is most likely to end my relationship or I guess prevent me getting into one.
You haven't started, but let me just stop it right there. Do you guys agree that most people end up in divorce for cheating and money? Is there anything else you guys would like to add, maybe based off your personal experience? Cheating and money's the top. Go ahead, Ann.
I would say it's hi, and thanks for having me. Hi, chat. I think it's more about a lack of intimacy, like emotional closeness. Also, feeling that physical connection. To me, marriage is about two people coming into union and becoming one. And so, if you have all these responsibilities and there's no real like deep intimacy, it feels like you're with a roommate. So I think that's what leads to cheating. That's what leads to focusing on financial issues, et cetera, et cetera. At the core, there is no true intimacy.
Okay. All right. So you do
I,
agree it's cheating,
I,
yeah?
I would throw my 2 cents in there and put it more so based on two people needing to share the same belief system. So it makes it a lot difficult trying to come together when two are not sharing the same belief system, which everything starts within before it reflects us outwardly.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Go ahead, Cookie.
I don't think it ends up on the paperwork, but I think a lot of people end because of not always physical abuse, but definitely emotional and financial abuse. I've never been married, so I don't know.
All right. Anybody else want to add anything else?
I'll tap in real quick. So I think he mentioned infidelity and he mentioned finance, which those are two important things. But I think most divorces, in my humble opinion, from what I've seen, is the infidelity part, the cheating part. Um, I don't know if my positioning on it is that men don't really cheat. That's something that women do. That's my personal opinion on it. So I think if men were more honest with their nature, a lot of women would either accept a marriage proposal or they won't. So that cheating stuff is off the table. But adultery, obviously, that's a different topic. And then the financial part, I would say if you're married, you're supposed to be building. I mean, hard times come, so I'd really need more clarification on why people divorce over finance. I'm kind of iffy on that one.
Yeah. Go ahead, True.
My 2 cents. I know people say that it's over finances. I think that that's a fallacy, and mainly because up until about 40 years ago, most marriages were heavily financed by one primary person. So if we only got 40 something years of the data of now people having dual incomes at a similar level, and then we have more money coming in, and you're saying that we're less able to be together, I think that that's a farce. What I've observed with couples married or just together is that it's a communication barrier, not so much the finances. And they'll say finances because one person is either a spender, one's a saver. One wants to invest a different way, and they don't know how to come alongside each other and support each other communicatively. That's what I've seen. And it's just easier to say, oh, it's finances. That's cap. But that's my 2 cents.
I like that, man. I had the opportunity to preview this before, as I'm planning for you guys in real time right now, and they did touch on that very thing. So I look forward to you guys being exposed to this information, because it's a different perspective. We always think we know everything until somebody else can paint the picture a little bit better than us, and in a way where we can understand it and look at it differently, so we can use it as valuable information in our relationships and marriages. So I'll go ahead and continue. Here we go.
Is this financial avoidance that most of us engage in. You've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of couples about money on your podcast. What have you learned about our relationship with money in relationships from that?
I've learned that 50% of the people I talk to do not know their household income. 90% of the people I talk to who are in debt do not know how much debt they're in. And 100% of the people I talk to in credit card debt also have trouble saying no to their children. Isn't that shocking? Each of those things, 50% do not know how much income they make, because most of us are simply living by looking at our checking account, and that's it. The debt part kind of makes sense. Why would you want to know how much debt you owe? You don't really want to think about it, so you ignore those emails and envelopes. And the credit card debt part, that is really interesting. The idea that if you can't say no to spending, so you've racked up a bunch of credit card debt, the same principle applies to saying no to kids. For me, when I discover these, I find them absolutely fascinating. But the good news is you can also change these things.
And what's the difference between men and women?
How you guys feeling about that point?
Yikes! That's terrifying. That's terrifying. Especially given that a lot of women are going to school and racking up a lot of, debt doing that. It's crazy thinking like you could marry someone who's in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt and you don't even know. Like their debt becomes your debt. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I'd want to know from what financial positioning he's speaking of. Like his clients, are they like, in the 6-figure mark, 7-figure mark, and millionaires? Or is he talking just like the average married couple in America or wherever he's from, or London, or wherever he's speaking from? That'd be interesting for him to give that information. I don't know if he touched on that, JR, but I would like to know what perspective he'd be coming from.
No, he didn't speak on that in particular as far as that. I'm pretty sure that was a full episode, so this was just only 25 minutes of it. But I do think that we can look at the average. I'm assuming most of us are in the average or a little bit above average, right? So I think we can look at it there. So just keep it there while we had this discussion.
So is he basically segregating the term marriage to people who are financially stable? Because people have been getting married since the dawn of time. So really, if we speaking as marriage as a whole, then you have people who don't have the same finances still getting married at the same rates as the people who are financially stable.
Yeah, that's
Now,
why I asked that question. Sorry, what's his name? Track beats. That's why I was asking like the money that he speak. That's why I asked that. I was
Oh,
like,
okay,
broke people
got you.
get married, and like
Yeah,
and I know, even from my own family, my granddaddy didn't have it like that. And my grandmother wasn't rich either. So, and they stayed married all, most of their adult life, and made it work. So, um, finances wasn't a really big issue from what I saw from there. So that's why I asked, like, what type of money is he talking about? Because I can see two millionaires fighting over finance. They got a lot to lose.
Really, it seems like wealthy people tend to marry more often than not. It's people who are struggling who have a tendency to avoid marriage, statistically speaking. And also something to consider, right? Like when it comes to, because you would it makes logical sense why two people coming into a marriage would maybe fight over assets, but I think if you look at the statistics, wealthy people who earn six figures or more, they generally they generally learn how to use the system to acquire even more wealth. So I don't know. That's a great question. Given also the state of, modern Black people, right? Do you guys think that there's a fear, like, do you guys think women are getting married with the incentive to like come up financially nowadays?
yes.
Yeah, but I think women always use marriage as a status
I
symbol.
mean,
I think women always did that. Yeah.
we're taught to marry well, and by well we mean wealthy, right?
Well, I mean, just in general, like the average woman would marry because she just likes being called a wife, and that adds
Oh, I
some
see.
some prestige to,
Who she is.
yeah.
Do you
So,
think that still
but
is that matters
I want to
much?
ask you a question, Ashanti or Anne. I have
Yes.
a question for you. You mentioned something. So my question to you would be, although rich people do get married more, they also do get divorced more.
And they get remarried more. Look
And
at
yeah, they have like multiple marriages. So like I'm saying, so to me, it's not really the financial part of why people get divorced. That's where I'm confused, because
ah,
I'm saying like, okay, you got married, you divorced, married. So it's not really,
a
I mean,
financial
you see what I'm
motivation.
saying? Like,
That makes sense. No, that makes a lot of sense straight like that. That's a great point, right? If wealthy people are also getting divorced and also remarried and divorced, it doesn't seem like it's entirely motivated by finances. That's a good point. I'm advocating for intimacy at the end of the day.
most marriages end based on what I said earlier. And my brother at the bottom just communication. I think he hit it right on the head. But also,
Yeah.
men don't cheat,
Okay, you need to stop
right?
saying.
No, I'm gonna keep saying it because that's the reason. Because 90% of women file for divorce. Men are not leaving like that.
Do you, bro, straight like that? If you made a vow to your wife before God that I will be here through sickness and I will be faithful to her. Is it still being faithful if you cheat on her? Just
Okay,
because you
so
didn't sign divorce papers doesn't mean you haven't abandoned the relationship.
I agree with you. The vows is true, and I'll honor those vows. I'm speaking to cheating. A man don't cheat because a man is able to deal with other women. It's in his biblical right. So if a man is just honest with a woman that he's going to have more women or have more than one wife, there's no cheating, especially if the other woman agrees. Only women cheat because you're only supposed to be with your husband.
let's go ahead and get Cookie in there and True Table. Go ahead, Cookie.
First of all, nigga, you lost your mind right here. I don't know what you talk. I don't know what you on, Jay. J.O. You know I am. That's some bullshit. Let's just call it what it is. Second of all, what? Married, the rich people get married, broke people get married. Broke people are married and unhappy because they broke. Rich people, live it out a little longer because they got a little money, and then they're like, I don't care. I'll give her half, and I'll just go make the other half again. It's this prison like weird mentality that we have. Do women married for the come up? Everybody in here like, yes, like that's something wrong. Yeah, stop that.
I mean,
Mute Mike. Like what the?
but
Where are
country,
we?
if you really look at it, like from the beginning of marriage, its invention up until now, women have acquired wealth mostly by divorce, not be or inheritance, but it's usually by acquiring a man's assets.
I'm gonna tell you why I don't like how it was presented, because okay, I'm gonna pick on the community for a second. The fact that I believe most Black women don't understand that you can't operate in this way because the lineage of finances don't carry over multiple generations. So if you're gonna marry someone in this community, 95% of them are broke or probably on the same economical level you're on. So you shouldn't be marrying somebody based on their job or how much they make only. You should be marrying someone that has the characteristics and the fervor to show you that he has the ability to expand himself. And if we did this correctly and did this maybe early 20s, mid 20s or so, this could easily be done, because what I don't see a lot of times, if we have marriage-minded people and you meet a man and a woman who are around the same age, right? Let's paint the picture. Let's say he's 28, she's 24. He makes 60, she makes 40. What would be wrong if they have the intention to be together, to live at his 60, save her 40 or half of her 40 for 3 to 5 years, pay for your marriage, and then save for y'all kids? No one ever talks about this. What we see happening is that women generally just say, go make more money. And that's going to solve everything, not understanding that marriage was never intended to be between two people. It was intended to be tribal. So because we have no family, no community, a lot of the things are weighing, and the pressure of marriage at a broke level is harder to execute. I don't think Black women collectively should be carrying the energy to believe that they're going to meet a man who's going to save them, because ain't nobody coming to save y'all. That's Jesus's job. And I digress.
But you can also look at all of the other cultures, and you can see that they may not have the same financial backing, and they are still getting married at high rates. It's a big Spanish community around my area where I'm at, and most of the men have wives, and they are not big ballers, big spenders, and doing all these other things. And even when you process, okay, if there was no system in place right now, meaning we wasn't in this matrix and marriage was still a thing, finances wouldn't even be accounted for. It would be this man's character and how well he can provide and protect for you. Because this system isn't guaranteed to be up and running. So let's say you get a man with a big bag and the system shuts down and he's a shitty protector, you out back.
But to your point, Track, you're right. From an earning perspective, if we want to keep it one layer, the Latin community may not execute on a high white collar representation, right? But what they do is they have an ecosystem. That's why Spanish people can get married and move in with 8 other folks, and they stay with each other for 3, 4, 5 years. So that $2,000, $2,500 a month become $250 per person, and they compound. Our people can't stand each other longer than a few days or a few weeks, so we go get our own crap, and that's why it keeps breaking down. So the economical conversation sometimes to me is just like, why are we talking about this? Until we can learn how to truly lock in and support each other past words, you can't, as a sister or a brother, assume you're going to marry wealthy. Not in this community.
I did want to ask you guys a question, because he did mention that 100% of the people that he talked to in credit card debt also have trouble saying no to their children. You guys think that is true?
Please, can you restate the question, please?
In the clip that I just played, the guy who interviews people and speak with people, a lot of different people, he said 100% of the people that he talked to that is in credit card debt also have trouble saying no to their children. Do you guys think that this is true?
Okay, I'm okay. Okay. We're we're talking. We're okay. We're. I'm trying to put my words together. We're watching a video
Mhm.
with a man that's making a lot of money, right? He's not us. He don't look like us, and that's giving. It's giving like, I mean, I can't. We can talk about this, but I just don't. I don't know if we'll be able. A lot of people, let me say that, will be able to relate to this because absolutely yes, that's how it is. I have friends that are that way, but they're not black. Black people, I don't think have any problem telling their kids no at any second of the day.
Yeah, I feel like it's cultural as well too. I feel like it's cultural. I know some brown people that got finances and they're extremely well at saying no or restructuring it in a form where it's not really a no, it's more so if they do A, they can get B, or they gotta not get it this day, but they can get it that day. So they kind of like try to meet them in the middle, but not give them exactly what they're asking for right then at the moment, depending on the situation and circumstances.
Uh, well, speaking from personal experience, uh, saying no, my dad really struggled with that, especially with me, because I was the first one and his girl. So I remember growing up and wanting something, and my mom being the one saying no, and then I can just go to dad, and dad says yes, and that would be like a point of contention, because then I have this thing, and mom's like, "Where'd you get it?" And I'm like, "Well, dad said yes," and then they would have. And my dad also, like, there was a certain, my dad's Ghanaian, so there's a certain level of pride that he has taking care, like being able to financially provide. And so for him growing up, it was almost a flex for him being able to afford anything his girls wanted, we got. Um, and my mom hated it. Like, that was one of the things that I noticed growing up, that mom would be more of a disciplinarian when it comes to financials, and dad was the one who would override constantly. Um,
But did your dad have it though to give
yes, he
you?
had it.
He
But
wasn't
there
in
would also be
debt.
times where, like, mom would be like, "Oh, we shouldn't we shouldn't go on vacation. We should save the money." And dad's like, "Oh, we're going on
Yeah.
vacation,
Yeah, I
right?"
think that might be a little bit different. I think he was just treating you like a princess. So he wasn't in debt, which is in response to the video. But yeah, I get you. I get what you're saying.
Just the saying no thing, yeah, he sucked at it.
All right. I'm going to continue running this clip and then I'm going to see if we can maybe highlight some things, seeing how this is not one of us videos. We'll see.
In terms of spending habits in a relationship, secrecy, avoidance, arguments?
Well, let's start with the roles. Men always describe themselves as providers. Always. That's what we are taught. It exists in culture. The problem is, of course, what happens when they are not the top earner, which is happening increasingly more now. So when I often ask them, who are you financially speaking if you're not a provider? And they're just stumped. But there's got to be something more than simply being a provider. You can be a provider and you can be a nurturer. You can be a provider and you can be a helper, a leader. There's so many different ways. Often what you'll see with women is discussions about a secret bank account. Keep a little money aside just in case. We have to remember that in the US, many grandmothers were not allowed to open up their own bank accounts. That happened in 2 generations ago. And so there has been a rightful message that has been passed down orally. Keep a little bit of money aside just in case, whether it be physical abuse, financial abuse, divorce, etc. And I totally respect that message. I don't think you should have a secret account. I do think you should have an account that is yours only, but no secrets in a relationship.
And what about arguments as a relationship?
How you guys feeling about that? Is that something that's in our community, Cookie?
Yeah, most black men right now, that's what they want.
As
They
far as
want
what?
they want it separate so they can't get got, you know. I mean, so it is. Yeah, we can
You said
definitely
most men
relate, but
want that?
I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
think most women.
Yeah, I would say most women want that so that they can have some form of control.
Or a
I
safety
mean,
net too. Like
but
what
they,
if the
I don't
relationship
think our community minds though. Like if as long as it's her money that she putting in there and not his.
Hmm.
but the idea is secret. Like he's not aware that like she's building a nest outside of the relationship. You don't think that Black women are trained to, just in case you have an exit route, you don't think that's
I
normal
can't
for them?
relate to that. I wasn't trained that way, so I don't. I've heard of that happening, but it was in like millionaire relationships. I mean, like sis, you keeping a nest and you broke, and then you get ready to leave him, and there's $1,000 in there. Where you going?
I mean, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
so I mean, like this definitely could be our culture, but it's our like 1%.
Okay.
So I haven't been taught to keep money on the side. I don't think I would need to do that if I'm marrying somebody. Like, because I'm not gonna marry anybody without knowing that this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with.
I like that, Cookie. Yeah. Were you
So
encouraged to be self-sufficient or maybe pursue something just in case you
I
don't have?
was encouraged to be self-sufficient until I got married, and then and no,
Okay,
I was told, and then you get married, I was taught to do what needed to be done for the family.
got it.
So while I'm single, I'm very self-sufficient. But if my husband does not like, I don't want to say that he'll be able to come in and tell me not to work because I love what I do. But if he like, you need to cut down some of these hours or maybe just go private coaching, then it would be something we can talk about. But yeah, no, I'm not. I
I
wasn't taught to be IND. I had two parents, so I didn't. My mom didn't really work.
Okay. I feel like that is more 1% than the majority. I think the majority of Black women, single or coupled, are often taught to be self-reliant, to prepare for a world where just in case this doesn't work out or he's this or whatever, you will be okay without him. And I think we prime young women with the, like, I don't know if you guys have heard the message, his money is our money and my money is my money, right? Like there is this idea that when you enter, or at least women are encouraged to have like a secret thing on the side. And I think it is unfair because it does prime you into thinking like that we are separate, right? Like there is a, I am myself and you, we are two single people instead of we are becoming one.
I think that I think Black women over the last 30 years have replaced the secret bank accounts with degrees.
Clocked it. I agree. I agree.
So like if this dude leave you, just go get a job, sis. You know,
Or go get the higher education
to
so
get
that,
a better job and take care of yourself.
so you can take care of yourself. Yeah.
I have a question for you, ladies. The women that replace the secret bank account for jobs, I mean, from a female perspective, why do they feel like that's a flex to men? I don't know why they
It's
keep
not a
doing
flex. It's just I didn't say jobs. I said education.
Yeah, same. Well, education to get a job, right? Take care of yourself, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's
if that man decides to not cheat, right, and you ready to leave, then you can take care of yourself after you
But shouldn't
divorce that.
you? Okay. Well, I get what you're saying. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get
you
what you're
can't
saying.
just be flat out on your ass with no skills.
Right,
So
right,
we've
right.
we've
I get what
we've
you're saying.
exchanged bank accounts for skills.
But you should be doing that in a marriage too. You should be working, contributing to the
Yeah,
family.
they do. Yeah, when you do it, I was taught you do what you're told in a marriage. I'm not against that. All I'm saying is, you just said men can't cheat. If I ran up on a dude like you, first of all, I'd sniff you out
All
before
right.
I
Anyway,
married
we
you.
can get into that another time. But I'm just asking about, you're supposed to be contributing in the marriage anyway.
No
So
shit.
so it's not a flex to say I'm going to go work outside the marriage if he leaves.
No, you
You
just won't be
should.
out on your ass. Therefore, you don't need a secret bank account in a lockbox in the bank. If you decide to divorce a man, you could just keep the job that you have
Right.
and be able to be self-sufficient. I mean, if your wife working at McDonald's, she can't leave you.
Why not?
Where's she gonna go?
Wherever McDonald's is able to afford.
That's the scary thing too. So then, are you only in the marriage with this man because he's a financial security net?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's
Right.
why I
What
was
are we
asking the
talking
question.
about here?
One of these,
Yes.
but that's
Why
the
are we?
thing. So then, what
Do
if
you
that
know
man
that
loses his
men have to
job?
pay for women in the Gap?
But what if
Like,
he loses his job? Like I've
then
seen
that's
so
when
many.
your skills come in. But let's be for real. If you love the man and he's financially stable, if he breaks his back through thick and thin, yes, you use your skills to make sure that man is okay if he's worthy. But you shouldn't marry anybody unless they're worthy. That's all I'm saying. There is no flex. I was just saying that there's no secret. There might still be secret bank accounts. The last time I heard that was like a Gen Zer, right? But millennials and zillennials are more like, I'm just gonna get an education. If this nigga dump me or beat on me, I can go get a job and leave him, and I don't have to worry about living at a woman's shelter when I leave him. That's all that I'm saying. There's no flex, there's nothing. It's just a plan and a way of life, and that's just how it should be. When you're in the marriage, if this man that gets messed up, he loses his job, you've got to step up. I firmly believe in that. You don't leave him because he down, kick him while he down. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But if he kicks you while you down, Diddy style, then you need to get up out of there, you and your education. That's all that I'm saying.
All right. He did mention something else about the provider.
Yeah.
He said, I thought I bookmarked it. I often ask them, who are you financially speaking if you're not a provider? And they're just stumped. But there's got to be something more than simply being a provider.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Drew?
I agree. I agree. I think that what you're seeing is the manifestation of life currently, like this experiment of allowing us to lead life where we have an equal amount of financial responsibility independently, dismantling families, communities, all that, right? For so long, it was easy to be a good man. Maybe 50 years ago, even 100 years ago, all you had to do was work, pay bills. That was it. Now, because we're sharing that space, it's changed. I think it's dope. I honestly support men to become optimal in their lane. They should be well read. They should be well traveled. They should be informed. So it should be past your paycheck, my brother. But I think the speed of it is where it gets a little tricky because we got social media and all this stuff. And now you're not seeing, you used to get compared to Charles around the corner. Charles got a new truck. Now you being compared to LeBron, Lil Wayne, and the brother's like waking up, clocking in, like a G5 though, sweetie. So
Only by chicken heads.
Do you think that makes men insecure in relationships, in marriages specifically? Like, do you think they question what their value is to their women if we box men in this simple like provider role?
Well, I think what's happening is that it's simultaneously happening, having men question their ability and value. And I think simultaneously it's happening to where women are doing the same thing. Because the same way we knew who we were, women knew who we were too. Now they don't, because what they deduced us down to was he got money, he got a career, he got a house, he got a truck, he good. Now y'all got that stuff and good credit kids. So now we're okay, man, show me more. That's what's yeah. But I
So do you
believe
think it's competitive, a competition?
extremely.
She says no.
Extremely.
I ain't competing with nobody but me.
Yeah.
Well, we're not saying you could, but overall, do you think that women are competing with men, or maybe they're not intentionally competing, but do you think that it's a competition?
You know what? With the IQs that I saw pop up, yeah, you're probably right. But there's a lot of women out there that's just doing them. But I think for the majority of these chicken heads out here want to be men. I can admit that.
Okay. So the role as a provider has changed. Well, hasn't changed. I mean, you still are expected to be able to provide, but you got to bring more than just that because of social media and the climate that we in today. Women just don't respect you being a provider. You got to have some substance. You got to be able to communicate. You got to be well traveled. You got to be able to teach them something. And if, like True said, if they're actually learning and they're actually acquiring the same skills that you are, then you probably might have to work a little bit harder, depending on the woman, if she doesn't have that traditional mindset. Because I don't even think before we had the internet and the pre-COVID, I don't think a lot of people might have been questioning if they was modern or traditional. I think that they were modern, but they didn't realize it. And I think when after COVID was put inside and everybody started talking about these relationships and the dynamics of it, I think it just got heightened. And we discovered that a lot of people are more modern than what we thought, because the world was changing and you was adapting to your environment and you not realizing that things have changed. Like your expectations have rose. And so now you're requiring more from men and you didn't even know until you got into a relationship. Like, what am I doing here? He knows nothing. All he wants to do is just work. Because if you don't have, most blue collar workers, they have to work to be able to make that amount of money to provide for their house. So they're not doing anything else but working. But if you don't work, if you don't have the money, they're going to complain. If you're working too much, they're still going to complain. So what do?
You just, as a man, you just do what you got to do. It's hard to satisfy a woman, brother. It's crazy, right? So you got to take care of their needs, yes. So if you have a woman in your life, you have to attend to her. I do agree with that. That's a responsibility on the man, especially if you marry her. But my dad taught me one thing. He said, at the end of the day, if a woman leaves or she stays, you still got to take care of those kids and make sure everything's straight. So, I mean, that's just my mindset whenever it is when it comes to any woman that I would have in my life. Make sure she's good, but if she decides to do what she needs to do or leave or stay, can't really control that. I'm not going to force her to stay, but I got to make sure the kids are good. I do believe also that if you have a separation from a wife, if it's amicable, like if it makes sense, like we're not getting along, I think a man should at least make sure she's straight. I don't think he should just make her suffer, because she's the mother. And she's going to probably have the kids, depending on the age, most of the time. So why would you want your ex-wife or your wife stranded or homeless? Like, I don't understand that. So I'll always make sure that I think a man, if it's an amicable divorce, an amicable separation, all right, cool. What can I do to make sure that the kids are good, you're good? You know, we can do it that way rather than just, you know, abandoning her in that way.
I'm gonna read Viz's mind because I believe I heard him speak on a lot of panels, and something that Viz may say in this moment right now is that, like, why are we speaking so negatively about divorce and marriage? Like, why is the rhetoric that if we get divorced or when we get divorced or when they become your ex, it's just so, if you had that type of mindset, then why even get married? Because I think that a lot of times when you hear people speaking, they're speaking so like divorce is an option. It's an option, and I think that that's part of the problem. That's a lot of people have adopted that ideology, and they don't even realize that they just normalized that. Like back in the day, or people that had the traditional mindset is that if you get married, that's it. But now people, they got that card. If you act up, guess what? I'm out. I'm not going to have to deal with it. And so that's why you had the secret bank accounts. That's the reason why people are trying to work, because everybody is dating in fear now because they don't know. So let me ask you this. Is it more so that people are speaking like this because they're more concerned about everybody else, or they're more concerned about themselves when it comes to them approaching relationships and marriage?
We talking about men or women?
I'm just talking about both. I mean, speak on both. Let's just highlight it all right now,
That was so
because
good.
like we hear this rhetoric often. So I'm just like, is it you that you're concerned about as far as you not being committed, you not being able to go through this, so you looking for out, or is it more so you protecting yourself from everybody else because of what you've been seeing?
Yeah, I think it's both. I think I think there are a lot of people who really want to believe in marriage, but because they don't have the examples of healthy relationships or marriages, they they either adopt negative limiting beliefs from the culture or from those people and then use it almost like a guard.
It's a lot of examples out here showing why it's a bad idea to get married through the system. So I know when you were speaking traditionally, marriage used to be formed under God, not under the system. So you are more prone to actually stick and be with that person that you're with. You know, it's the same thing I was saying earlier. You're sharing the same belief system. But now being married under the system, it's a lot of examples of poor men getting the bad end of the stick, and rich men getting the bad end of the stick on all spectrums.
I think in these spaces, I think it's easy to speak on the negative of what can happen. Um, as a wise man once said, "There's with no risk, there's no reward." So, of course, getting into a marriage or a relationship, let alone, but getting into a marriage can be extremely risky. But there's also a lot of positives that can come from that, and that really all comes from, like Jr. said, essentially being able to, or willing rather, to do the work that's required with making this commitment. I think one of the biggest things, and I guess this is more so because I work personally with couples in marriage, um, is that in many cases people will get married for the wrong reasons. They're only getting married because of the Instagram. They want to get the glitz, the glam, but they're not paying attention to the vows that's being said traditionally at the wedding, let alone the private vows that you may have. And I think we forget the essentially what was surrounded around marriage. Even if we're just saying in the vows, you're making this vow before your family, your closest family, and also God as well. And I think even now, I made a post a couple days ago, and someone had mentioned how even at one point as Black people, we weren't allowed to get married, but now we're the least married and the more divorced and the highest divorce. So what is that really saying? You know what I'm saying, about what it is that we are telling ourselves on these panels, on these platforms? What message are we truly getting across? That we're not only infesting this generation, but the generation to come. I forget the gentleman's name, but he said in 10 years, we could potentially be at a 16% marriage rate. In what world is it that we can build wealth and Black stability if we're getting married at 16%? So I think that we need to take a look at the bigger picture, because it's easy to blame the other side. It's easy to not take accountability. But I think, and I've realized this, and I hate to say it, but the truth of the matter is that what relationships look like now is completely different from when Hink was in the game. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to him, but that's just the facts.
Damn.
Just like JR said, when COVID happened, everybody was on the internet and everybody was able to say what their experience looked like.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have women that's saying, man, you know what? This is not the only thing that will suffice in this being a healthy relationship for me. So now I have to, as a man, I have to look at what it is that she views this to be. And in most cases, it's emotional, right? Men don't deal with emotions traditionally. But the fact of the matter is, if I want to be in a healthy relationship, what she sees as a healthy relationship, I now got to be emotional. I don't know what the fuck this look like because I'm not used to that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to adapt to the current times. So long story short, a wise man will say that even if you don't agree with what's going on in the current times, you have to be aware of what is going on in the current times so that you can be able to maneuver as a man in these circumstances. And I think that's the challenging part that most men are being faced with, to where we have to figure that out. What does that look like? And that only comes with being around men that are willing to have deeper relationships, much rather than men that are not willing to do that. They're willing to be in that stone age, as they say. So I think it just all looks different. Now, if you don't want to do that, you want to stay under the Brute Act, hey, by all means, do such. You just may find a woman that's doing that. But if you want to have a healthy relationship and what's going on now in this current world, then you're going to have to learn some new shit.
All right, I'm going to play a little more of this clip and then we're going to get Hank in there.
To money in relationships, what are the cause of the arguments? Is it someone spending too much? Is it hiding money? Is it something else?
It's usually not hiding money. That's very small extreme. The biggest phrase that I get from couples is, he or she's a spender and I'm a saver. So it's creating this identity that they're a spender, I'm a saver, or they don't want to talk about money ever. Why can't I get them to finally sit down with me and get on the same page? That's a phrase that's tossed around everywhere. When I ask them, what is getting on the same page? The answer is, I don't know. I just want to talk about it. So when it comes to money, yes, there are the numbers that we need to understand, of course. But what I often tell people, the way you feel about money is highly uncorrelated to the amount in your bank account. That is why I speak to so many multimillionaires who still worry about money. They think if I just have 50,000 more, 500,000 more, $5 million more. Well, guess what? I've had all those folks on my podcast and they still worry about money. That means there's two things you need to do to master your relationship with money. One, you got to know your numbers. This is a language you have to learn the basics of personal finance. Two, you have to master your money psychology. That means you need to change the way that you talk about money and behave with money so that you can ultimately change the way you feel about money. You do those two things, you're going to have a very healthy relationship with money.
We'll go into all of those things and how you do them. On this point of gender roles, obviously society has changed in the last couple of decades in terms of equality, and more women are in work at higher level positions in corporations, in the C-suite, earning much more money. This has caused a shift,
If you guys haven't already, make sure y'all hit that like button.
I should say, in the sort of typical gender roles and assumptions of what each gender is supposed to be doing in couples. And I'm wondering now, with more women earning more money, in many cases, they're going to be earning more than their husband in heterosexual relationships. Have you seen new dynamics and new issues created because of this, in terms of, like, I don't know, insecure men feeling emasculated, or the woman not being happy that she's contributing more? And I ask this because I had someone on my podcast a couple of months back who said to me that I think it's 70 or 80% of women expect that their romantic partner will earn more than them. But that gap is closing now because women are earning more and more money. I'm just wondering if you've seen in those couples scenarios where the woman earns more and it's causing problems.
I've seen it all the time. I've seen it all the time. I think that we see different gender dynamics. I recall one episode where I spoke to a young woman and her boyfriend. She was around 40 years old. She made way more than her boyfriend. Care to guess how much she makes per month?
$20,000?
$200,000 per month. She has a business. It's doing very well. She's around the age of 40. Now, her boyfriend was never taught about money when he was growing up. Most people are not. He never learned about investing. Certainly no one was telling him about a Roth IRA when he was 12 years old. And he had started his own business and he was on the upswing. He's making a few $1,000s a month. Good for him. She's making $200,000 a month.
That's a lot of money.
Her parents started talking to her about investing when she was 5 years old. So here we already see a difference, not just in gender, but in socioeconomic status, okay? And over time, that progressed. So they come to me and she says, I want him to pay for dinner occasionally.
I'm gonna stop it there. I'm gonna go to you, Hank, man. I know we're starting to get a little good. What are your thoughts about what was said? I know he mentioned about couples not being on the same page. He talked about how some people's upbringing is different. They understand how money works versus somebody that doesn't. What are your thoughts so far about what was just said?
Well, just when hearing that last part, let me say this. What's going on, guys? Hopefully everybody's well. Shout out to y'all for being here. That last part alone, when she said, I want him to pay for the meal sometime. Yeah, shit. I don't believe in that. If they're married, it's one pot for me. There's no separation, hidden fund. I can't have access to certain monies. She makes $200,000 a month. I make $200,000 a month. We make $200,000 a month. It's look. Let me say this, fellas. Part of the reasons why a woman's going to know how much you make, and you ain't got to tell her the things. This is where you know what your career is, and she's going to do the research on your ass. We don't do that. We don't ask about the money because we always say it doesn't matter how much money. Bullshit, man. I say it all the time. By the third date, you need to know her credit score. You need to know how she spends. If she's a materialistic woman and you are more of a guy who's not materialistic, that's a bad combination. Now, maybe, just maybe, you had the swag or the rears we talked about yesterday. You could change her mind and try to talk her down from being so materialistic and overspending and frivolously with her money and not willing to save and invest more. Maybe you can. I wouldn't waste my time. Unless she has a whole lot of more value that you see that you expected of your standard board that you may have for a woman, if she's hitting them other ones, and you may be willing to let some shit shine or adjust, maybe go with it. I would encourage you not to. Because let me tell you why. Like a woman like that making 200,000, you ain't gonna be able to say shit to her. You're not gonna be able to say a word to her. It's gonna go in one ear out the other. Who are you? I make $200,000 a month. What the hell are you gonna tell me how to do and move and operate with my money? You need to get up and get on. She doesn't know anything different. Like she said, her parents been pouring to her ever since then. She doesn't know what it means to bring in a family and share, and she doesn't. Only thing she knows is make money from me. That's why she made that statement. I wish he would pay for the meals more, because she doesn't look at it as us as together. Only thing we came to one is and she might even hyphenate her goddamn last name. She may not even have his last name. That's how disrespectful she could possibly be. I don't know. I'm just assuming. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and put a little bit more of that clip, Hank, so you can kind of get the details of it, because I did stop it right there.
Okay. And over time, that progressed. So they come to me and she says, I want him to pay for dinner occasionally. Fine. Super reasonable. He even said, no problem, I want to. So he would take his credit card out and he would offer to pay. And she would say, no, I want you to contribute more to your IRA. So in many ways, she wanted him to pay. She wanted to feel taken care of, which is totally reasonable. But when he offered, she said no. So this is the kind of thing that I often see, which is, I think I want one thing, but when I get that thing, I don't actually want it. It doesn't make me feel the way I thought it would. I want to earn 50K more. I think that'll make me feel safe. Oh my God, I am earning 50K more. It doesn't actually change the way I feel. So I worked with this couple and I helped them understand why they both felt this way about money. And you know, from the outside, it's like, this is so irrational. If you make more, just pay more. If I were in that situation, et cetera, et cetera. None of that stuff matters. When you are in the couple, in that relationship, you will feel a certain way, and we got to work with you individually, not what everybody else says. In the end, the conclusion that they came to was she wanted him to occasionally pay for dinner, but she also wanted him to fill up his IRA. So this is what they did. Every so often, before they went out to dinner, she would give him her credit card. And she would say, here, I want you to pay for tonight. And he said, cool. He understood it. They went out and that's what they did. Now, to us sitting here, we're like, this dance makes no sense. Why don't they just do it this way or that way? Guess what? Every single one of us has some irrational thing we do with money. Every single one of us. And I think that we are ready to actually have conversations about how we are irrational. Money is not just dollars and cents on a page. That's why you don't feel good about money even when you have more than you ever thought you would. That's why you worry about money, but you have never read a single book on personal finance. We are all irrational, including me. And when you get into a relationship, you got to acknowledge that. And then you got to say, hey, what is our vision of a rich life together? Let's build that. If it means we do a little dance about the credit card once every 2 months, fine. Do we both feel good? Is it fair? Then I'm good with it.
What's going on?
So yeah, one of our problems is we don't talk about money. Why do we wait until we get married and then we start talking about debt, money, finance, and all? That don't make sense to me. Now you're too far along in. You're too far along in. Now you just now finding out that she's got $200,000 worth of debt. She done had multiple bankruptcies. You're just now finding that out once you went and married this woman? Or ladies, you married this man and you just now finding out he has this back pile of debt? He has a gambling problem? He has vices that cost him is the reason why he has no money? He can't afford to buy dinner? He can't afford to pay for groceries? Because you're not talking about this. We can't wait till we say I do before we start talking about finances. We need to talk about it as early as possible. Now, whatever your comfort level is about doing it, then do it. But you need to do it as soon as possible. Because if not, you're going to have situations like what they're talking about. Now she wants him to pay for the meal sometime. Okay, well, he's trying to do it, and now you're not. That's not what you really want. So now you're indecisive. What is he supposed to do? Well, if you had this conversation prior to, maybe some of these things could have been resolved, could have been addressed and handled, and been put on the back burner, dealt with, and y'all could be moving forward. Now he could be investing like you. He could learn some of these strategies. Matter of fact, he could even have conversations with your father on what he taught you, and maybe he could get some lessons and learn on how money works, how you operate, how you save, how you invest. Instead, you waited till you're a year or two in and find out about these other things. That's not smart. That's not good. That's a bad situation.
Go ahead, Cookie, and then we go to True.
Nothing related. Is this video real? Like, this isn't AI. Like,
Yeah, that's real.
it's given like it's given. Maybe I'm tired, but it's given like infomercial type fake. Like, buy my book. Like at the end of the. I don't know. Maybe I'm just sleepy. I did a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'll listen to some things, but I try not to. It's not AI. I mean,
I'm hearing the and I'm just like, is he selling something or?
No. Hold on, Biz. Let's get True in there first, because I know True was trying to speak.
Yeah, no, like I guess to Hink's like main point, and he's consistent with what he says throughout these panels and these discussions. I think the biggest difference is that you have a marriage mindset, which is great, but I think we have a dating culture. So money is not so much about, okay, it's multifaceted. There's a huge amount of ignorance around money, but the biggest part is that it's vulnerable. People don't want to look like what they actually make. This is why they go and I think it's called Sahavian signaling, where you portray more than what you really are. The car, the house, all that. The truth is told, the numbers don't lie. Most people are broke. And broke is not earning. Broke is lack of asset, lack of investing, things of that nature. So that's why I think, to your point, Hink, why are we having these conversations? It's because to the dating exchange is an impressionable dance. If you were to sit with a young lady and be like, check this out. I like you. I think you dope. But your hair, your nails, and dates, you may get a corn dog. Your birthday, I may bake you a cake. But this is the plan. It's not sexy. And on the adverse, if she comes and hits you with the I'm 80, 90, 100,000 in debt, I think that's why the conversations aren't happening. We don't have a marriage approach. People are good with the short exchange or the hookup or the situationships. But when you start talking about that money, that opens up wounds. And it really shows you what type of mindset the person has. And most people, unfortunately, are misinformed. And I'll land.
So I'll be transparent and vulnerable in this moment. My bride, she makes more money than me. It's not $200,000 a month more, but a year. I make good money. I make above average money, but she makes better money. I watch. We both actually watch both of these men platforms. And what I hear a lot in the gentleman that's being interviewed on his platform is that in most cases where the woman or the wife makes more money than the man, it's because the conflict comes because they're not having the conversation. 100% of the time, the woman, the wife, she knows that I make a lot more money than this gentleman, but that doesn't fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why she's there. If the money truly mattered, then she wouldn't be there. That's the truth of it. Now we can argue that or whatever the case may be, but the fact of the matter is that with there not being a conversation around it, that's where the conflict comes into play. So if they're going out to dinner and he's not paying for dinner, then I mean, in my opinion, shit, nigga, that's the minimum that you can do. You know what I'm saying? Especially if she making $200,000 a month, That's the minimum you could do. You know, when I go out, shit, when we go out, we spending at least 300 if we doing some fine dining. That's nothing. We go to Longhorn or something, it's 150 or some shit like that. I'm willing more, I'm capable and more than willing to pay in both cases. But we damn near alternate because we understand that, to Hink's point, it's all one pot. We all in this, we in this shit together. So it's not you making 200, me making a $150. It's us making 350. You know what I'm saying? Or 450, whatever it is. I've been drinking. So if the communication is not there, then that's where the failure comes. And that's what I've seen under every circumstance of the gentleman's podcast that he has, is that there's no communication in the sense of, hey, let's get to an understanding of this before it gets ahead of itself. And now we're spiraling out of control because we haven't talked about it. We haven't been vulnerable about it, transparent about it. We've allowed our egos to get in front of it. You know what I'm saying? So in that situation, we gotta be able to talk. Hey, I understand you make more money than me, but the fact of the matter is that you're not here because of the money. That's clear. So I can't move in the sense of thinking that you're here for the money. You're here because of what it is that I am and what it is that I bring. And that's the most valuable part of it that comes in a situation like that. And that's all that should matter in a marriage or a relationship.
All right. Track, anything you want to say?
I kind of have to agree with the fellas, just off of my own personal experiences. Any kind of relationships I've been in, if I was in a downward part of my financial situation, they bag was my bag. I done had females just hand me their bank cards, everything in that department. So as far as these separate accounts things and doing things separately and not having these conversations, personal experience, I'm on the other side of the spectrum. So I would have to agree with these fellas on that one. I mean, if we're coming together as one and all my resources is your resources, anybody I put in that main female position have always brought their resources to the table.
All right. Go ahead and run a little bit more of this clip. You good, Cookie? You all right?
Who are you talking to? Me?
Yeah, I said you good.
Yeah, I'm laughing at. I'm laughing.
Okay.
I'm good. I promise.
All right. Run a little bit more. Let me get these couple super chats that came through. Reyes Anderson 499 says, I don't know marriage in 2025. It's almost like a scam. I don't see why we need a piece of paper anyway to get married. Anything under the government. Women liable to screw you. Mr. Javota with the 125 for foreign currency. It's usually FBAs that don't understand this, but other coaches get it. Women want providers. You and your D is not enough. It's simple. Well, thank you guys for contributing.
No.
I do have a question, JR, real quick, because I'm trying to understand the financial part of it still, and I heard everyone's opinion on it. So, and the fellas did speak. I agree with Biz's take. I do. I guess the issue I'm having is whether you're rich or you have money or you're broke or you're gonna come up. Trying to figure out financially, why would that result in a breakup if a man is supposed to? I mean, I guess if a man's not working, I could get that, but then he shouldn't even marry in the first place if he's not working. So But if he's working, whether he's rich or not, I'm just trying to understand from the fella's standpoint. I'm trying to understand why financially there would be a breakup if you're married and you guys are all in it to win it as a family unit. It's supposed to be successful. There's downtimes, but I'm just trying to figure out why financially people would separate. I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, the reason would be, and again, I work with couples every day. I worked with couples that are getting married, couples that are married, couples that are engaged. I just talked to a woman that's engaged to a guy that's in prison right now. Financially, and it sounds crazy, right? But the fact of the matter is that, again, we're living in the era where finance is not the biggest issue. Where the issue comes into play is where the relationship is falling short, and then on top of the finance. So if the woman feels, right, and I get it, the whole narrative around women and their feelings and all that other shit, but the truth of the matter is that if a woman isn't feeling that you're showing up or providing in these other areas where she's willing to look the other way, then that adds on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that is solely based off of financial issues, because we all know about Pookies and Ray Rays and all this other shit, right? We can acknowledge that. How is it that these men are getting into these positions? It's because they're bringing something else to the table. Now, be it if it's peeing, be it if they're just showing up physically, whatever the fuck the case may be, right? It's the fact that they're showing up in some other way where it's compensating for that, right? I think that that's a big part of the term settling. I think that we all settle, regardless if you're happy in a relationship, you're settling for that person because you're saying, you know what, this is what I'm happy with, and this is what I'm content to settle down with. So with that, I'm willing to accept everything that comes with this person. So
No,
if this person is not able to show up financially, I know that they're able to show up in these other ways. So I think that the issue is that people aren't showing up in these other ways, and where it now causes conflict as to where now the division grows, and then we begin to see the divorce rates increase.
yeah,
So,
I agree with that. So remember, this brother or this guy, because he's not really, but the guy that's doing the interview to the other guy, the expert, he's saying that divorces, in terms of what JR's point was, it's finances and cheating. And I'm just trying to understand, based on what you just said, and I agree with you, brother. As I said, I don't disagree. But financially, I don't understand why a man or a woman, because as a man, I didn't even like having a girlfriend if I know I didn't have the money to facilitate what she needed. So why would I even want to get married? You get what I'm saying? So I don't understand why a woman would marry. Now, granted, if you meet young and you met a brother young, he's on the come up, he still has certain requirements, but he's on the come up. So therefore,
Whoa. Damn.
Sometimes it's like that. So in that situation, man, that woman sounds dumb. And so I think we kind of mined that out on the other day, that these women are dumb now. These women are dumb and these men are weak. That was our conclusion we came up with. I believe it was on Sunday. Women are dumb, men are weak. Shame on you, motherfuckers. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what the fellas. I can't answer for you. The ladies, you need to talk to your elder women in your neighborhood, in your family, or wherever you need to go to get that teaching. But as far as you men, the reason why you sit down to pee is because you lack a lot of stuff in your life. Whether it's your daddy was a weak man and his granddaddy was a goddamn weak. Matter of fact, his great granddaddy was a weak man. Hey, shame on y'all. What y'all need to do is go to some strong brothers who could probably help you out, talk you into training you, educating you on how to be a better and stronger man and how to stand up to people instead of doing like these women do and sit down. Until that happens, you'll forever get ran over, Peter Road, kicked in the fucking gut, and having your nuts in a woman's purse.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I believe that some men just gonna struggle with it because, like you said, Hank, if you weren't taught when you young, it's kind of hard to just convert over into something that you don't even really understand. It's like you showing up being phony. So that's the reason why even when you teach somebody, you have to see if they have a level of understanding of what's being taught before you can even move on. A lot of things, there's level to things, and a lot of things are just layered. So even if they grasp it, then you have to put it into play. And you don't know what that's going to look like. So if you're trying to teach this man how to essentially be a man, it may take a while for it. Most folks are not even consistent with everything else in their life. So you telling them to be something that they wasn't even taught and them being consistent with it, the women gonna read that. I wasn't when I was younger, I didn't really have I didn't have a lot of money. And I've never been looked at any differently because when I was raised to be a man. So I led with manhood. I never led with money. The money was just a bonus when I got older. Now I do agree that you do have to be making something because you can fake it for so long, but once you looking for something that's quality, then you're gonna have to be bringing something financially to the table. It ain't gonna fly. Like the younger you are, you might be able to get away with it, but the older you get, yeah, you can stain a few people or whatever. You can move around, but if you're looking for some quality and you're trying to be able to provide for your family, you're gonna have to be making something. You got to be doing something. You just can't just be no total bomb or no pookie. So it's gonna be difficult, man, for some folks. And there ain't nothing that they can do about it, nothing that you can do about it. All you can do is just try to get them the game, and you can try to walk them so far. But if they can't grasp it, they can't put it all together in their head, then it's just gonna be a struggle for them. And you're gonna drain yourself trying to convince them that they're somebody who they haven't been their entire life. Go ahead and play a little bit more of this clip.
Cookie had a hand
Oh,
up.
go ahead, Cookie. I'm sorry.
I wanted to add on that from a woman's perspective because I feel like y'all put a lot on top of yourself, but there's a lot of women out here that haven't been told either, and they're dumb. Like when had he not fallen off the face of the earth, I was gonna tell him that he says I don't understand how there's certain other qualities that I'm mature. I won't call them dumb, but less mature women find attractive. It's some broke dudes out here giving massages. Like what did Pink say earlier? The Riz, they cooking, they cleaning, they slanging D, and that's just good enough for her. So I mean, don't lose hope, fellas that haven't been taught yet. They out there. I've seen a couple and know a couple. I ain't heard, but they out there. But all I'm saying is like he didn't understand how a man and a woman could get in a situation where they arguing about money if he knew maybe the chick wasn't making 200K a month when he met her. You know what I mean? Maybe it was only like 75K and she just kept going, and now she's just kind of like, ugh, and she loved him. But there are definitely situations like that, but you like Viz says, you got to have those conversations and talk about like who doing what. And if it's a we, it's a we. we doing this together. But see, that's a lot. That's what a lot of people are scared of. I think nobody wants to be like we. But a lot of men out here also talking about 50-50. So what is we if there's 50-50? So I think some of the more like mature women are confused. Like, which one is it, bruh? Is it gonna be like a pot or are we 50-50? I don't understand. So, there's a lot of ways that could go left. That's all I'm saying. Or right, if you're doing the right things.
But a pot is 50-50 essentially.
I was gonna say the same
I
So
thing.
mean,
I was,
it
I was gonna say the
is,
same
but
thing. I was gonna say the same thing, bro. Like 50, yeah, it's 50
oh,
50.
you came back
like
from oblivion.
like
Welcome back.
like I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but if we are in this together, then yeah. Um, I I I know
What's the
plenty of.
first thing that
I,
came out of my mouth, though?
I get it, but I'm just following up. I'm just progressing the conversation.
Right.
I,
I'm
I
sa-
pers-
I'm saying from a
personally
woman's
don't.
perspective, though. So
Right.
this
That's
is how.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I get it from a woman's perspective, but again, as I acknowledge, in many cases, if a woman is dealing with a man that makes less money than her, she's aware that she makes more money than him. So we today in this modern age where most men do more physical work that doesn't cash out as much as women that may have their own businesses, they may work in a corporate setting where they're going to make a substantially a lot more than the man. That doesn't make that man less of a man because
No.
he's doing, you know what I'm saying? He's doing what it is that he does. Maybe he's a welder. Welders make six figures. Electricians, they make six figures. But maybe this woman is a, a, a product manager or a PA or something for some company, you know what I'm saying? And she's doing 250. There's only so much that you can do with that. So at that point, that woman is not with that man because of the money. There's something
No.
else.
No. She's
Um, my point I was trying to make with that, um, I forgot what the fuck.
that's that liquor.
No, Cookie, can I ask you a question real quick?
One
Oh, go
pot
ahead,
ain't
Go ahead.
50-50. If I make 50,000 more than my wife, that's not 50-50.
That's what I was thinking about. Are we old, Hank?
I
Are we just
don't know,
stupid?
but I don't know how y'all say it's 50-50. If I'm making more than my wife and I'm willing to put all what I make in there and she putting her little 50,000 in, ain't no 50-50. She's getting a betterment of the deal. Truth be told, she's
Well,
getting a better deal. Yes, she's able to spend what she needs to spend, buy what she needs to buy, take care of what needs to be taken care of. How was that 50-50? No, man, it's just me sacrifice, but I know the difference. Just like if the shoe's on the other foot. If she made 150 and I'm just making 50, there's no 50-50 there. Nothing about that said 50-50.
if
But
if
That's
y'all,
if
three
if,
y'all
fourths to
if
one
you
fourth.
if you married, you saying this is not that if you're married. If you're married, it's one pot, right?
yes. But how's that 50-50 though, Vias? If
If
I'm
if we're,
making more than my wife,
if
I'm
we're
putting all of my money in there. Not giving her $1,500 towards the house payment. I'm not saying she's not coming shaking me that, hey, I need my half on that goddamn grocery. Now that 50-50 she was doing that, that's not what's happening.
If you looking at it literally, I can get what you saying, Hank. But as far as like, if this is all this person has to bring to the table, then that would technically kind of be 50-50. They're dropping everything that
No,
they have
that's
on the
math.
table.
That can't be
If they
50-50.
had what you had, they would be putting more in it if we looking at the actual dollar amount. But I
But then
definitely get where you coming from as far as, all right, well, if I got $10 and she put in $5, then how is that 50-50? Is she supposed to go scrape up another 5 to equal the dollar amount? When really that's all she have on her. So it's kind
But
of
then
like,
she would have to if it's 50-50,
Well, I'm
right?
saying,
If the apartment rent's $1,500, and I got my say in 50, where's your say in 50? I ain't got it.
No,
Then it ain't 50.
but
Now the
him,
percentage on it. Now I'm about to pay 60%. She's only paying 40. How's that 50-50? It's not.
no, you're right. You're right. I agree with you. Can I ask you a
I
question?
accept that.
I want
Go
to
ahead,
ask you a
bro.
question real quick, because you're right. I don't disagree with you, but the women are saying that they want more contribution. Women are really promoting, I want to put my 50 in, right? Because they're saying I'm independent. I can do what so I agree with you, brother. But the women are starting to, like for instance, like as a man, part of the flex was I take care of the house. The women want that flex too. They want that type of admiration. So they're saying, nah. I mean, Gabby Union and Dwayne Wade, I think they had some sort of discussion about it where she was like, oh, he's going to go buy a house. She's like, well, I'm going to put half of it too.
bro, you cannot use them as an example.
No, I'm using the situation, not them.
You can't use that situation because you're using them as an example.
Why not?
That's not a traditional relationship.
I know. I'm not talking about their relationship. I'm talking about that in their marriage, just on the financial part of it. They're not traditional, I agree. But on the financial part, Dwayne said, I'm gonna go buy a house. She says, I don't want you to pay all for it. I want equity. I'm gonna give you half. And then when she moved in, she realized she couldn't take care of none of the bills. All I'm saying to Hank is I agree with him, but I think the women are saying, I want some of that power as well, but yet they don't have the willingness to do 50-50.
I don't think that those women want that power. A part of that conversation that the gentleman was having, that he mentioned with the wife, is not having the power, not having to pay for dinner. That was the clear message in that. The woman does not want to have the power. She may be willing to up the money, but she doesn't want to feel like she's the one that's taking on that burden every single time.
And I agree. And that's what I was saying to the other brother. I agree with that. I'm saying
that's not what you said, bro.
No, it's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying I agree. I'm saying that, like, okay, for instance, I'll tell you what I'm saying. What I'm hearing women say is, I make my own money. I make this amount of money, and I don't really need you. I want you, right? This is what I'm hearing. Not from all women, some women. And that puts me in a position saying, okay, cool, I'm going to go buy a house. Then she'll say, so you won't pay for all of it, right? And I said, but I thought you wanted me to treat you equal to me. So some guys are going to take that and say, you got to come off, you got to contribute to the house. We're going to buy a house. I'm not going to buy it by myself,
Okay.
So what I'm saying is women are saying that sometimes.
A woman.
Are you in agreement to that though?
About that man.
Are you okay with that?
No, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that.
Cut that woman off.
No, for sure. 100%. I agree. That's what I'm saying. I agree.
Don't waste time. If that's how she's talking and that's her mindset, and you try to convince her to move away from that mindset, it's not working, then you need to move on. You leave that heifer at the restaurant. Don't keep trying to convince her. Don't keep trying to persuade her. Don't keep trying to con her or talk her into something she's not moving off of. Cool. Now that she let me know where she stands, I need to let her know where I stand and walk away. Don't go back fucking on her. Don't go back having sex. Cut it off. Don't waste time. Cut it off.
Like what woman ever in life?
The harsh
where are these bitches?
They're all over the place. Trust me.
The harsh reality is that a woman that actually wants to be with you is not going to say that to you. It doesn't matter if the house is 800,000 and she know you only make 200, I'm gonna give you the 6 or I'm gonna pay for the 8 because I want you. It's not about the money. I think we gotta remove our ego from that perspective. And I understand that that's a tricky space, you know. But the fact of the matter is that current day, what we're seeing, and I'm sure you may have experienced women that speak like that. But the fact of the matter is, and we've talked about this on this same panel, is that in many cases, women do the group thing. They will say what other women are saying just to agree with it and just to go to be on code with it. But behind closed doors, it's a completely different thing. So again, the fact of the matter is that if this woman is about you and she wants to be with you, regardless if she makes more money than you or not, she is going to be willing to put up whatever it may cost for us, the one pot, the unit, to be in this house safely. That's just my perspective.
But Viz, that's not what he said, though.
I agree with you, by the way. I
He's
agree
saying
with you.
the opposite. He's saying that women they wouldn't want to do that. That's what he just said, that women are saying that they don't want to do that.
I thought he said that a woman said she wanted to be independent and wanted to pay for half the house.
No, I'm saying that's what they say, but when it comes down to it, they don't want to do that. So women will talk a good game about all this money they make, but they don't want to spend their money.
All right. Let's put up more of this clip, man. We're going to get you in there.
With her, because it sounds like there's this battle between her mind and maybe her heart, or it's almost like the social expectation is coming in, but then her brain is saying, no, invest in the IRA. And an IRA, for anyone that doesn't know, in other parts,
it's a retirement account.
A retirement account. So she's saying invest in the future, but also buy my dinner.
Well, it's the same. It's the same. We all have these things that society has told us, but then we don't quite agree and we're not sure what to do. Last time I was here, we talked about how you don't necessarily need to buy a house in order to live a rich life. And in my case, I have rented for the last 20 years by choice, and I made more money renting and investing the difference than I would have by buying a house. And this is shocking to people. Like, we saw the comments last time. People went berserk. How can you talk about renting? You're just throwing money away on rent. And this is something we have been fed constantly for generations, that in order to be successful, you must buy a house. So when somebody like me comes around and says, actually, you should run the numbers because sometimes renting can be better, people are shocked. Same thing with if you want to be taken care of, or you want someone to treat you, or you want someone to pay for the first date. Same thing when men come and they talk about being a provider, but in certain relationships where they actually earn less, I'll say to them, if we look at the numbers, you're not the provider. So who are you? And they're stumped. And that is when we need to start grappling with the idea that maybe what we were told is not exactly true for us in our situation today. And that's okay.
Do you think it causes more problems when in terms of the relationship dynamics and that sort of emasculation and, that the man not feeling like a provider when the woman earns more money than the man, from what you've seen?
Not necessarily. I think that it is a different framework than we're used to.
Yeah.
When we think about my parents, for example, my mom stayed home with us. My dad went to work, single earner. Simple. Everybody knew where they stood, what the roles were. It was very simple. It's very difficult to do that today. Housing is historically expensive. Healthcare is expensive, especially in the US. And so you have two people earning. In urban cities, you have young women earning more than men in their 20s. A lot of us are trying to figure out, what does this role mean for me and for my partner and for our relationship? That makes it tricky.
I wonder if a lot of men are just choosing to remain.
All right, go ahead, True.
I agree with him, but I partially disagree with him from the point that he made it about if your woman makes more than you and you're the man, you're not clearly the provider. I think that we have a unique opportunity to explore what that looks like now. Because I think we've narrowed it down to provision is solely money. I personally think that if you are lucky enough as a woman to land a man, and what I mean by a man, I mean someone who functions on all cylinders, well-traveled, well-spoken, well-read, comes from a good family, knows how to make money, maybe not a whole bunch, but knows how to make money. And then he's industrious, right? Provisions come from him because we live different lives, wisdom, how to network, how to save. So I think what has happened is that if the woman makes more money, that would make sense depending on what she's doing. She goes to school to be a surgeon, she's gonna make money. Lawyer, make money. I think our ecosystem that we have, people are not looking at it correctly because we never participated equally in the workforce. That's the only thing that's going on. So it will make sense. And I argued this probably about a year ago. So it should not shock men that women make money. They go to work. They have careers. That's going to translate into dollars. So what I think we need to do is figure out what provisions look like for us. And me personally, I don't think you can ever lose as a man being the best version of yourself. What that looks like. You trying to compete with her is a waste of time if that is your mindset. And I'll land it there.
Okay. Anybody else want to add on to that?
I would just say I never felt like less of a man if I had a girlfriend at the time and she was making more money than me at the time. That never emasculated me at all. For some men, I can see how that could fluctuate, but your masculinity is within you, so you don't really just kind of push it off to the side or to the back burner. Or if you had masculine males around you when you were growing up, it's kind of embedded in you. So that doesn't just get removed because you end up, not with the same finances as your partner or more finances than your partner.
What do you think determines if you're masculine or not?
Masculine, to me, is more so of, your leadership skills and qualities, obviously your provision, your protection, your principles, morals, and values, which we all could say we have, but I genuinely like to connect those to source or the creator God. I don't really follow any religions, but I do believe that there is a higher power, above us. And those are like the dominant qualities.
So the question was, who do you think determines your masculinity? Or
Who
if you're a
determines
masculine man?
You, as the man. You can have other people outside of you say whether you're masculine or not, but I feel like we determine that within ourselves. You know if you're walking your life as a masculine male, and you know if you've taken on more of your feminine quality traits and are leading with that as well. Sometimes it could be by the way you speak, by the way you walk, by the way you handle certain situations. It's a few things that go into that kind of recipe, but for a lot of the situations I've been through, I didn't really comprehend my walk in my masculinity until I had to go sit down for a long period of time around all men. And I always felt like I knew I was a masculine man, but then as they started relaying that message to me, it just only gave me confirmation that I am walking in my masculine energy.
Okay, go ahead, Cookie.
Once upon a time, somebody asked me what I rated myself, and I said a fucking 10 with pride. And then this psychopath told me that the only person you can't rate yourself a 10, it got to be somebody else. So I'm wondering if JR is getting at the fact that is it other people? Like, do you feel like that other people contribute to you being labeled masculine, or is it just yourself? Which I totally agree with. I feel like you couldn't be able to say, yeah, I'm a masculine man without somebody questioning it. But do you feel like society has come to the point where like you can't say you masculine? That's too cocky. We determine, the women determine if you're masculine. I mean, like, you know,
Yeah,
it just
I get what you're saying. But for the most part, it has to be you who determines that. Yes, the other people can reflect that. Now, as far as rating myself and doing all these other things, that's completely different, you know, because
I don't think it's different. How's that different?
I could say that I'm a 10, but the market is going to show me what my rating is.
The market can't show you if you're masculine or not.
I guess it would depend on the market. They could make a
Say no, but
decision
that's a
on
trick
if
question.
they
Say no.
feel as though I'm masculine. But when you put this walk of life and masculinity next to someone who they feel is masculine, them attributes are always going to be pretty similar. Men
They
are
go
men
both.
all around the board, whether we're in the States or whether we're overseas in Asia.
Okay, okay, I got you. Got it, Gerald. I made my point.
I think that it depends on the. I think a big part of it depends on the observer. So there's a we could one could arguably say Andrew Tate is an extremely masculine man, right? But there can be men, masculine men, that say, "Man, Andrew Tate is not a masculine man." There can be a type of man that's on the opposite side of the spectrum that respectably could be considered uh, um, a masculine man. I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name. Jr. We share a lot of his videos. I think he's bald with the beard. He has the book, the 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 man that the moment calls upon, or some shit like that. What's his name?
Oh, you talking Jason?
Jason. What's his last name?
Wilson with the gray beard.
Yeah, bald guy with the gray beard. He does like he had like the video. He had the video with the young kids. They was doing like
Yeah,
karate. Some
yeah. You
shit.
talking about Jason Wilson? I think his name is.
I need what Viz drinking.
All right, so Jason Wilson is that Duce. So Jason Wilson could arguably say that Andrew Tate is not a masculine man, and Andrew Tate could arguably say that Jason Wilson isn't a masculine man. Both of these men could be considered masculine, but depending on who it is that's observing it and who's and what side of the spectrum they're on, that's how they would essentially gauge it, in a sense.
And I think it's important. I think it's important for people to understand it and be able to independently think about that, because I'm going to ask y'all this: do you guys think that somebody that hates, would you say that that's a masculine trait?
Could you repeat that?
Hate.
Do somebody
So
that hate
Somebody
A
hates
man
you.
that's hating on
masculine trait?
another man is that's on the
I'm
trait.
just asking: would that be
so
considered a masculine trait?
What would
I,
be
I don't think so.
Yeah, because you can dislike people, like the same thing he just mentioned with Andrew Tate. Like, even if I saw him and I didn't like some of his talking points, men are very good with reading men. In my view and vision of him, and hearing the little bit of speaking and communication that I did receive, I would perceive him as a masculine male. Even us growing up, when we're children, we could tell which guys were a little bit softer.
Okay, so then what makes a masculine man then? If you can tell, then in your opinion, what makes a masculine man? If you could define it in 3 words.
It's more of your aura, your presence, and your walk.
But what you gotta understand is that you can be fooled by that, right? I know a lot of people on the internet are fooled by a lot of men that they look up to, and they're just as delusional as the women that they complain about. Like they
I
have
can
no
see that.
idea of the traits because it's masked so well. It looks good, but if they only knew, then they would have a different outlook. So one may argue that being a masculine, having masculine traits is going to be subjective. It all depends on that person.
So let me answer that question. Somebody who's consistent, somebody who's got standards and they hold themselves to them.
You can still be fooled with that, Hank.
Yeah, but it's hard to if they're inconsistent.
It's not hard, man. It's not.
I don't know, man,
You
because
can
I'm
you can
I'm
tell
seeing
when
it.
boys
I,
are real
somebody got
I
to
boys.
see
repeat.
it. I see it happen daily that people operate on this frequency, but there's different frequencies, and you have to be able to look at everything. Like a lot of people don't have the independent mindset. A lot of people they follow the crowd. They don't question. They don't look a little bit deeper.
Well, I think that's the point that Hink is trying to make.
Yeah.
I think it's the security in what it is that you believe, the values that you have. Even
Yeah.
if everybody doesn't agree with it, even if it's against the grain, I'm gonna stand 10 toes down in this thing. If that broad is a heifer, that motherfucker is a heifer. I don't care if she a wife, a side chick, whatever the case may be. To Hink's point, I think that is solely based off of, to me, masculinity is how strong are you willing to stand for what it is that you believe in. Now, if you're doing something, if you're saying one thing, you're presenting one thing, and the entire time you're doing something else behind the closed doors, then that's not masculine. You're not being
No,
your true self.
no.
So
Right. So right. But if that's going on, you wouldn't know.
you would know. It's only it's
Somebody,
only, it's only
but
so
yeah,
long
somebody
that
gonna know. Somebody gonna know
You
whether
only
it's
can
the
hide for
woman
so
he dealing
much.
with, whether it's his family members. Somebody gonna call him call him to the carpet on that bullshit
yeah,
if
it's
that's up
only
to
so
do
long
it.
that's gonna last.
Yeah, but I think JR is asking, how do you know without all the other elements to verify? And JR, I'm gonna attempt to answer your question. I'm gonna attempt to answer it, and Cookie could back this up if she wants. So I got three categories that a masculine man has to do. The first one is sacrifice himself for the greater, for his family and for his people. So that's number one. If you don't sacrifice yourself, then you're not really a leader. Because a leader leads his life. The second thing I would say is discipline. So you can have a bunch of different beliefs, but if you're not doing the thing you say you believe in, you're just a hypocrite. And the last thing I would say is love. I think love is what men display in all things, because it's love why we do what we do for everybody, right? And from sons and daughters or whatever, or your own wife. I believe in the Bible. I believe in the scriptures. The number one commandment the Most High gave to men is to love their wife. So men are the example of love on all fronts. So those three things I just mentioned to me would prove to
Okay.
me, and you can verify that as a masculine trait.
I mean, that's on a biblical level, man. Like one of the frequencies that exists is reality on earth, right? So you got the biblical, and you can check all the boxes biblically. But I was raised a certain way, and I have my viewpoint on how I look at masculinity. And once I see somebody do some foul shit, I just don't have no respect for them. I don't care what nobody. I have to be the one to determine and evaluate if that person is masculine or not. I don't care what the thousands of people do. I can, when I look at people, They're just humans to me. I wish I would put another man on the pedestal. I almost said the N word, but I'm reformed now. I wish I would put another man on a pedestal. I don't worship no man at all. So while a lot of people are blinded by most men out here, it's some things that just how I was raised. I don't do. They
So
sissies,
so
sassy.
it's kind of like if you got two different tribes neighboring each other, you may not like the walk of life or how he's sneaky or snaky, but that doesn't take away from him being a man. If y'all standing face to face and they get ready to come to blows and both of y'all ready to blow and bang it out, those are two masculine men. You just don't like certain qualities and traits about this other man.
Yeah,
But that
but you
doesn't
just
take away from him being a
was it
masculine man. Even if he's a snake or he's sneaky and doing all of these other weird things that we don't agree with, that don't take away. That just means he's an unhealthy, unfit masculine man, but he's still masculine.
but
How
is
about you
masculine
can be in a prison system with all of these men and you can tell which ones are masculine and which ones are more feminine. Yes, they may, even the guys out here in the streets that's gangbanging, just because they doing things that we may all not agree on doesn't take away from their masculinity or their manhood. They're just
Yeah, but
doing things on a different spectrum.
you're talking about somebody who's tough or who thinks they tough,
Yeah,
and make,
that's different.
go from the shoulder. That's nice. That's cool. But that doesn't make him masculine just because he can fight or he can argue or
That's-
anything like that. That doesn't make him. Look,
women
let me
can fight, like women fight. So
it takes a bigger man to walk away from a fight.
Right.
That man, to me, is more masculine than that man's gonna get in there and throw blows. Why? Because he knows the backlash that's gonna come his way. But yet he's ready to stand on his point. He's ready to stand on whatever standards he is. He's being consistent. Whether you think a snake dude's been, no, he's not being consistent. Because guess what? In the next breath, that snake man was gonna do something that's right, and then he's gonna flip flop again. Now, I don't think he's a masculine man. I think he's a weak, a backstabbing type man.
Yeah,
I
I agree
know.
with those
Hold on, y'all. Hold
adjectives. I
on.
definitely would put
Hold
those
on, y'all. We got.
adjectives on it, but
Yeah, I would say we got Cookie. I know we only got one lady on there, so let Cookie go ahead.
Okay.
I can't speak for JR, but what I think what he's trying to say is that when you talk about masculinity, unlike looks, which you can look in the mirror and say I'm a 10, but what I'm saying is when you're talking about people's personality and masculinity as a trait, sometimes the man in the mirror be lying to y'all ass, and it depends on the person who's viewing you. And I can tell you from a woman's standpoint what we look for in a masculine man, real quick, and then what we look for in a dude that get cut. Like, for instance, masculine man, we're out somewhere and I didn't cause anything, but it's getting people getting roughed up. He don't have the sense to get us up out of a situation where it's getting dangerous. That's a strike. That's not masculine to women. We sitting down at a table and he hating on another dude because he dressed nice and he think I might be liking him. That's weird. That's not very masculine. So it's certain things like just whole HAN activity, HAN activities that would label you as not a masculine man. And I think that's what JR is trying to say. It depends on how that person experiences you in order for you to be considered masculine. Like Andrew Tate in person is I think a horrible person when it comes to women. Like and I mean, you know what his case in Britain. Y'all can look that up later. It even goes deeper than that. But like he said, you don't put anybody on a pedestal, and it's about trust and respect for women. So when we look for masculinity, and women don't like it, but we want to see that you looking at ass like that was a fat ass that walked by. If you ain't looking, we're like, you know what?
But
What
there's
men
was you
don't
different.
looking
cheat,
at?
right?
Because
Men
I
don't cheat.
looked.
You know,
You know
that's
what
okay.
I'm saying?
Men don't
Like,
cheat, right?
Our
Cookie, men don't
masculinity,
cheat, right?
Yeah.
That's
So
looking at a woman's ass as she walks by. That's not masculinity.
It
I
was a
wouldn't put that on the
joke.
But
same
no, I get
level.
that.
It
But
actually is actually.
I'm
It
saying we
actually
just got
is.
to go off of
It
what
actually
you're
is.
saying.
It
I,
was a
I
joke.
also
yeah.
think that the mirror does not lie to you. The mirror is going to show you exactly what it is that you are. Now, what you tell yourself is something completely different. But the mirror is going to tell you exactly what it is.
I agree with that. It's
just to
dead
put
in
it,
your face. You just
yeah,
see
just to put it
it.
out there too, it's the same thing like confidence. Like I don't think every man is confident in everything. You know, like they may be confident in the things that majority of men respect, but when they're not in the presence of these men, I don't think that they're confident. It all depends on like what battery they got in their back. It all depends on like what incentives that they may have, the accomplishments that they may have achieved, which may give you the perception of confidence. But if they was put into a situation where they will fold, like they will fold. The reason why this is an important conversation is not to point the finger. It's going to be up to you as far as who you look up to be as masculine, whether it be yourself, whether it be somebody you encounter. But I just want to stir the pot a little bit in y'all mindsets to get y'all to think outside of the box and how you look at people and how you look at life. Like you can't go around and the first thing the first imagery
Yeah.
that you see,
You saying it right.
or the first
Impression.
impression that you see, and you think that's what it is. You got to question everything. Everybody's a suspect, even your family, your
Well,
damn kids.
so
So if your kids exhibit some behavior where you can't sleep at night, that motherfucker might got to be on the outside of the other side of the door because you got to be able to sleep at night. If you think they're gonna buck, where they gonna try something crazy, it
So
is what it is.
the
But
question
question everything.
question for the
Jordan Peterson.
cast, so it would be like, what would we label boys, meaning children?
What do you mean?
What would they get put under when we look at male boys?
The
What
Bible say 12 and under.
huh?
Will children show masculine or feminine traits. The one thing with children is that they have a childlike imagination, right? Until they hit a point where they begin to mature and adapt to what the world uh, shows as being the norm of how it is that you're supposed to act or react. But I think for children, they're in the middle. They understand that there's a healthy balance of the two, in my perspective. Now, I think masculinity is is tied to what Jordan Peterson speaks to as being able to control the monster inside you. That's what truly shows the masculinity. I know I can destroy shit, I can wreck shit, but I'm not going to do it because I understand my power. In my opinion, that's masculinity. Um, this is taught in martial arts. I know, just even if I'm a white belt, I know with what I know, I could whoop 75% of people's asses outside, but I'm not going to do it because I understand the power that's within me. And I think that that's more so is what's tied universally to masculinity. Now, of course, that's gonna look different as you go down the line, but I think overall that's what it's really tied to. But as far as with children, I think children have a healthy balance of feminine and masculine until they get to an age of where um, they see where it is that they fit, or they have been exposed to what it is that they believe where they fit.
So
Or they
what
hormones
would be
kicking in.
considered a healthy version of masculine and femininity in a boy?
Say it
Uh,
again.
what would be a healthy example of masculinity in a boy, masculinity and femininity? What would be a healthy version of it?
I would say leadership and grace.
Leadership and greatness,
And grace.
grace, grace.
But I think track it to. I'm going to piggyback off uh, Drew's point. Um, Masculinity is going to be judged based on those three things, and he said one of them. He said truth and grace. I summed it up to being loving. If you're going to judge masculinity, you have to judge it on those three principles: sacrifice, discipline, and love. All these brothers were absolutely right in terms of their assessment on it. But it still comes down to what I just said. And I don't disagree with JR. I think he's absolutely right. You can be fooled by any man that has bravado or swag or money, or he's just, acting like, tough or whatever. You can be fooled by any so-called masculine man. To me, Andrew Tate is not masculine. I'm just going to say it straight. He's not at all. I don't think he has. He might be on the down low, to be honest, just based on how he be acting. Because he's overly, doing too much. He might just be on the down low, to be real with you. But the way I judge masculinity is sacrifice. Because if you don't have nothing to die for, then you accomplished nothing as a man. You know what I'm saying? I got kids, so I got something that I'm responsible for. And then, especially if you have a woman, you're responsible for her too. So you got to put your life on the line for that. And then discipline is, I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what you do. If you're telling me that this is who you are, but your life does not live up to that, you're just a hypocrite. So you're not masculine. Masculine men are not hypocrites. They say what they mean. They do what they say they're going to do. And then the love aspect, which I brought up before. You got to love the people that's in your life. And then you got to love your brother as your neighbor, as the scripture says. So those
So
three principles, I can
is there a
literally
difference
verify that.
between an honest man and a masculine man? Is there a difference?
Yes.
What would be the difference?
Okay. An honest man would tell you what you want to hear. A masculine man tells you what you need to hear.
You got to even question that, man. Question everything.
Yeah, big facts. I question everything.
Yeah, man. Should be sounding so damn good.
I definitely agree, but I feel like we all are men over here for the most part. We got one female, but as far as like when you lived in this vessel in this body for so long, it's kind of like using the same computer. Like you become extremely good at learning how to process people. Andrew Tate was a bad example. He just got thrown out there. None of us give two fucks about him. Bad example thrown out there. But as a man, we learn how to process at such a young age, and we all understand that there's always a threat of violence at the door. So, like you were saying, straight, that you have to be disciplined, meaning that all situations you aren't going to be able to walk away from. You're not going to be able to do this from every situation. But since we've been in these bodies for so long, we learned how to process faster, which is why when we walk in the rooms, our processor starts going right away. We start, okay, this is the exit over here. There's a male over there. He looks a little suspect. All right, he looks a little soft, no threat. We start assessing all of these things already. As soon as you go into a grocery store, corner store, doctor's office, anywhere we go to, you know what I mean? So like, we have to give we have to give ourselves some credit for being able to live this long. That meant that our processors have been working. We have been able to analyze and assess situations. We was able to stand solid in the situations where we needed to, and we were able to discipline ourselves enough to step away from certain situations. Every situation doesn't require the same response.
All right, let's play a little bit more of this video, man, and then we'll react to it and get up out of here.
Single until they've kind of worked on themselves, because I think actually that's probably the path I would have taken if I'm being completely honest. Well, I kind of did take is I didn't have a relationship until I was able to really provide.
Oh, the P word.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where did that word come from? Provide.
Like watching my father, watching movies, everything.
Exactly. Yeah. No one ever says like, you are a provider, but we learn it from a million different perspectives. And yeah, I hear a lot of guys. I mean, when I was living in New York and I had a lot of single friends, topic of conversation was, I'm not ready to get married. I need to get to a certain point in my career first. We have all these words for it. And deep down, there's a feeling that we're often expressing, you know, maybe I'm not ready, maybe I'm not enough, maybe I need to do X, Y, Z before I do the thing that I want. And so part of what we talk about when it comes to relationships and money is like, let's actually shine a light on that. Let's not be shy about it. If you want someone to pay for your dinner, fine. That's totally fine. Let's have that conversation. If you want to be the sole earner in your household, okay, let's see what it would take. And too often we don't have those conversations. We just dance around them for 50 years.
Who should pay for the first date then?
My answer is, doesn't matter. It would be nice if the person who suggested the date pays, but I think we spend way too much time focusing on the first date and way too little time thinking about the next 14,625 days. It's like a couple who's obsessed with the wedding. Fine, you want a nice wedding, great. What about the marriage? Same thing with money. First date, okay, we can have that conversation, but aren't you more interested in how your partner thinks about money and talks about money? Are they a cheapskate? Are they generous? Are they abundant? Did they grow up the same or different than you? That is something we don't talk about. Meanwhile, we have 5 million YouTube videos on who's gonna pay on the first date. We are missing the real point. The point of money in a relationship is not just about the first date. That's fun for clicks, but it's about, do we see money the same way? Do we connect? Are we gonna be rowing in the same direction, or are you gonna be doing that and I'm doing this and we can never get aligned?
You can only make a first impression.
All right. What do you think about that, Hink? Ain't Cookie true? One of y'all?
Well, I know Cookie's got to leave shortly, so I'm going to let her go first.
I was my Frenchie. I'm gonna come in on the. I'll let one of y'all go, and then I'll piggyback. Sorry.
So, well, I'll go ahead and go. As far as what he was saying right there, look, I'm a man who believes in coffee dates on first dates. That's just me. And if I deem you worthy enough to go out to dinner, then we'll go out to dinner. I have no problem with paying for the dinner. Not at all. It's not about being cheap or nothing like that. I just don't want to invest into a money pit that's not worth investing into. But I'm also a man say I don't believe in taking care of I didn't take care of my wife. When we wasn't married, that wasn't my responsibility to pay her rent, to do this, do that. That wasn't. I didn't think I was obligated to do that. Now, once I bless her with my last name, she has nothing to worry about. He's going to take care of everything and all things. But prior to, no. Because to me, she had to prove that she can handle herself financially, mentally, emotionally. She had to prove that to me. And for me to go in there and bail out and do this and that, no. I need to know how she works with her finance. Is she financially literate? How's she going to handle things emotionally? When she was put in trying, challenging time, yeah, I was there for her. But if I had to financially do something, no, I wasn't doing that. I would not. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say I wouldn't do it, because I would. If she really needed my help, I would. But I wasn't paying to get her hair done, nails done. I don't believe in that. That's just me, though. Now, there's some people might say, oh, he gets mean. Okay, call it what you want to. As me, as a master man, I'm going to stand on what I stand on. And that's it.
I remember what he was talking about now. So he was talking about people put too much on the first date, like too much expectations or pressure on the first date, and make it too much about that. Well, I agree with that to a certain extent, but if we think about the rest of the animal kingdom, I mean, it's, lions out there flexing, birds out there doing dances, and I just think the art of, and it's not y'all's fault. It's actually women's fault that it's no longer a hey, I'm gonna try to win this chick over, because so many women are undeserving of the treatment. I would say talk to women more often on the phone, even though y'all don't like to, and get to know her. Because the women slip up all the time on the phone. They do. You'll get to know a female real quick just talking up to her about random shit on the phone. And then if you want to make a first date, then after you fit or not, you might save yourself the coffee money too. Um, then take her out so it can be something nice. Like I don't just go out with people. Like I'm not a swipe right, swipe left female. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be somebody I met, I've been talking to for a couple of, but like I mean, at least a month, because I'm paranoid and I live in Texas, so my gun in my car. I'm sorry, Jr. I didn't want to use that target word, but so and get to know somebody mentally, which is what something I want to do, because I don't want to end up with somebody crazy or end up in a ditch. You know what I mean? Out here in these female streets. And then maybe the first date won't be so serious if it's further down into your intellectual relationship, and then the first date can be nice because you could have blocked her already if you knew that she just wasn't that type of female you want to take out, because I don't waste my time going out on just random dates with strangers. You know what I mean? So I think if we stop dating strangers, none of this will be a conversation.
Yeah, I speak on that all the time. Fellas, do not just slide in some chick DMs, ask her if she want to go out, and then you immediately take her out somewhere. Actually get on the phone and have a conversation with her a few times. People are always saying like, man, people can wear these masks for 6 months and woo 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 and all. That's because you're not talking to that person. Your communication skills lack. If you are talking to this person, like Cookie said, at the minimum a month, even if it's every other day, every 3 days, whatever the case may be, and you're on the phone with them for at least an hour, this is an investment. Essentially, I'm investing my efforts into you because I'm interested. So I really want to see what it is that you're on before I actually intertwine with you physically. Because if I can't have a conversation with you on the phone, what the fuck do you expect is going to happen when we in person? Now, if you're just trying to crack, that's something completely different. You're in a whole different field. But if you're looking for something serious, actually have a conversation with this woman, with this man, before you go out with them, so you have a good understanding of who they are. Because the more questions you ask, the more that you talk to them, they're eventually going to tell who they are without you even saying it, just simply from you having a conversation. So if we get to that, then I think that that'll change a lot of things. But the problem is that we're in the hookup culture. People don't give a fuck about that. Oh, she got a fat ass. She got some big titties. She's shaking ass on Instagram. Man, shorty going. That's all people care about. But then they start dealing with them, get into a relationship with them, and now it's a big issue. Oh,
Hello,
man.
motherfucker. Hello, motherfucker. Hello, motherfucker.
No, you finessed yourself. You knew what the fuck dude was on. You knew what she was on. the whole time. But you didn't care because you was just trying to crack. So you can only blame yourself in that situation. But I'm adamant about that. Have conversations with these people on the phone. Talk to them. Don't text them. Get your ass on the phone and talk to them. If she like you, she gonna tell you to pull up. We ain't even gotta go out. Wait, where you at? Oh, I'm here. Well, you should pull up on me. Bet I ain't gotta spend shit. We gonna sit in the car and talk. We made dating so complicated that I just don't understand it. Go ahead, True.
Oh yeah, no, I think what you said is super important. I guess what I would highlight or maybe add a bit of contingency to is that, like I said earlier, the landscape is different. It's changed because personally, you know, I've only dated women, and I'm assuming all you fellas have done the same. I don't personally think fellas treat dating like women treat it. The date is so that she feels like there was effort applied or that she has a substantial reason or story to give back. And so I think we need to kind of challenge women to prioritize connection, prioritize communication. They don't do that. So a lot of fellas understand that, the exchange exists because, like, you'll hear women say something like, it was a good date. And then if you ask her what was good about it, she never talk about the conversation. She tend to talk about where you went, what the ambiance was, what she ate, what she wore. So I think that we need to kind of challenge that part. That having a discussion to the ladies of truly what you're in it for. Like you said, Viz, are you looking to crack? Well, I think if we're at any point of talking to each other on the opposite sex side, we're looking to crack. At what point we crack is irrelevant. But yeah, ladies they make dating complicated because I think most dudes is a little simple.
Don't say ladies.
How,
You need that if you looking for that under the age of 30, good luck.
Looking for what? Which part?
The connection part on the phone and taking time. No shade to y'all younger women, but it's just how they were raised. They need instant gratification. If you're talking to a mature woman and she come back from a date and she talking to her friends, she's not gonna tell them even where y'all went. She's gonna tell you, well, we talked about this and he said this, and then we might go back. I ain't never had a conversation with. I have three sisters and a god sister. The first thing we do is talk about what is the nigga crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did y'all talk about? What did he?
No,
Is he country? Like, is he hood? Like, get he both? You know, is he put together well? You know that. I'm trying to figure out. Like, I want to understand where these women are. Is there a certain age group, or because I think women look for connection. That's how we're made. That's how we're built. I thought.
I think I'm not saying what you're saying is in totality wrong, but women, it's about selling the story. Like the date, that's why you hear women say, oh, it was a good date. But if you ask a man what a good date is the fact that we was out. The fact that I'm with a chick.
I could easily say that a man would say a good date is he smashed.
Sure. Yeah, true. But I've
heard that more. I've heard too.
I'm sure you have. But
what's the caliber of people that we're talking about here? To me, if I was just out here, right, doing my thing, if I was in my 20s, even then, me saying that a good date is just me cracking, that's not a good date. You know what I'm saying? That's just me cracking her. A good date is, man, damn, I really enjoyed myself. I want to see her again. It didn't matter if I cracked her or not. Matter of fact, I don't even want to crack you right now. I want to see how I feel the next date to see if I'm really motivated to want to crack you then. that's a good date.
Right, and that's how women are too. I don't feel like women just out here like
No, there
talking about.
there
Are you telling
definitely
me
there
that
there
that's
definitely are
giving?
some for sure out
There
here.
are. I just feel like they young. I mean, am I old?
They all ages. It's all
It's
ages.
it's all
It's
ages.
all, they're
It's the
all using the
caliber of
same playbook. I done talked to women older. I'm 39. I done talked to women older. I done talked to women younger. It is
Maybe it's a
all.
demographic, like how they were raised.
It's the culture. It's just what's being molded right now. So it's literally just the culture and how it's set up. So
That's a tragedy
like
that y'all feel that
like you
way.
could have a good date
But
and
how do y'all
vibe. Like
know
a good
this?
vibe, like with women today, is being able to have a conversation without awkward silences or without you feeling that weird bad vibe in between that silence. Like, and then a lot of females don't even ask questions. You literally have to carry on the whole conversation with yourself.
Do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 39. I just mentioned it. Yeah, I'm 39. I'll be 40 in September.
Hey, but
Where do you reside?
I'm in Virginia, but I'm originally from New York.
hey, I think that there's a
New York women are the worst.
I think there's
To
a
your
beauty.
point, you're from New York, right?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Oh my gosh, they're the worst,
Hold
brother.
on. I think that there's a beauty in being able to share silence with a person.
Yeah.
Even if that moment is awkward, it don't matter. Maybe during that awkward moment, we lock eyes.
This nigga.
You know what
It
I'm
has to
saying?
be a comfortable
He
silence. It's
right
a difference
though. It's
between a
given.
comfortable silence and then that
But
uncomfortable
that's
silence where
I,
you
I
know
get that,
their
but that's really
intentions or
based.
what they're
That's
waiting.
This guy,
get
yo.
that. I get that.
It's
But
giving
that's
Love Jones,
to me though.
guys.
Lock eyes.
This is just my
Yo.
opinion and my experience. This is just my opinion and my experience.
Y'all don't hate on Viz. He
Even
a
even
lover. Don't
in
do that.
even
Yo.
even
We
in
Bro,
all
like,
even
should
in
be trying to lock
hey
eyes.
straight like that don't know because he be off that Stella Rose. Even in that situation,
Damn.
even in that situation, right? I could
You
I
still
could
sipping on that
make
Stella Rose, dog?
yeah, he off that shit right now.
nah.
Even even in that situation, right? Even if it is awkward, just the fact of me locking eyes with her would now make her feel intimidated to where like damn, this nigga looking into my soul. You know what I'm saying? I could make that awkward moment a plus just off the strength of what it is that you're aware of. So again, in situations like that, I think that is up to the man. Of course, yeah, the woman plays a role for sure. But if she's feeling you, she's vibing with you, y'all having good conversation, that awkward moment is actually to your advantage because now it's like, damn, I just felt some type of way with this man that I ain't a nigga ain't looked at me like that in 3 years,
See,
5
that's a
years.
good vibe.
You know
Women
what
I
are
can
I'm saying?
in.
agree with you. That's a good vibe though. That silence is different because the vibe is there. It's
But
no.
you control the silence. Did you hear the story?
Yeah, it's not.
Nah,
Women are innately.
track is right. Like track, you right, bro. You on par.
You
Women,
ever had some woman stare at you and she be probably thinking like, he don't know what he's in for. I just destroyed 3 men before him. And she just looking at you like,
Hey, God
I
damn
feel
it, bring it
bad for
on then.
y'all.
Shit, are you scared? You scared, bro? You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
that's why I'm single
Right?
now. It
Like
ain't got nothing to
what?
do be scared. I just don't want to get destroyed in the process. You know what I mean? Like, it,
the
I
reason
done
why
been through enough.
there's a disconnect is because women don't really date, they participate. Like they ain't never had to set up stuff, they ain't never had to coordinate, they just arrive. So what I'm speaking to, I'm not, you may be different, but ultimately women are looking to have a good time, and a good time looks different to them. That's all I'm saying. Like as a man, you got to know what your strengths are. Like
Yeah.
you got to know how to ultimately entertain, from conversation, from ambiance. It can be coffee, sure, but most women ain't stepping out the house with a dude they trying to get to know, even if y'all talk, for just some hot bean juice. Like that's just not typical for most women, especially nowadays.
Okay, well, this is
true. You saying that's not your experience?
No, well, see, okay, I'm speaking. Look, I ain't had.
Yeah, make sure you clarify that. Make sure
I
you
ain't
clarify
had.
that.
So can
Like,
I say something?
Make sure you clarify that. Right. Make sure you clarify that.
All right, no doubt.
Yeah.
So women are innately
on, man.
anxious. We're anxious. We kind of like dingy, and we get real nervous. You know what I mean? Especially if we like a dude. So it's very. If we've been talking on the phone with you and you take us out, it don't matter if we walking through the park. If the silence is there and she's like, oh my God, he doesn't like me. That's the first thing that comes in our head. I think y'all are misreading. There are some dusty women out there that's just out to get y'all.
Some is
No, there are.
understatement.
It's not all of them. No, it's not. And some women in the awkward silence are thinking like, oh my God, I didn't. He's not saying nothing. Is there some on my face? Da, 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 da. Like women spend their whole lives planning, like preparing to get dressed, doing hair. What am I gonna wear to make themselves look presentable, like from an early age? So I'm trying to figure out where
So
all
question
of the
for you.
evil came from.
Question for you, Cookie. So why is food always the first resort as far as dating? Because I know when I was in high school and we used to do all this going out to eat and doing all this stuff, both sides, me and my homeboys and the females, we all was like concerned about having food in our teeth and talking with food in them. Like why has that become a thing as an adult when it makes it a little bit more trying to conversate opposed from meeting outside of food?
I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way. Y'all are the leaders. He just got through saying that y'all playing the dates. Stop taking these bitches to eat.
Yeah, I don't. It was just an open question. I feel you.
No, but when a woman likes to eat though, track.
I mean, tell her
I
that you
mean, we
want to
need
take her
peace to
to
live too,
a
but I'm just saying,
museum
like,
or
that's
even
like
Brother,
what
brother,
dominates right
whatever
now.
meal,
Like,
whatever meal you want to give a young lady is going to be up to you, right? And if you have a standard where it's like, okay, it's the first date, so she doesn't get steak, she gets ice cream and a walk. Okay, cool. If she's feeling you, she gonna be down.
she
oh,
gonna
facts.
ride.
She
I
gonna be
go
down,
with
bruh.
scenic locations. I'll Google scenic locations, and I'm in Virginia, so it's a lot of nice, dope scenic locations. So I'm
That's
more
and
outdoorsy
that's how.
anyways.
Okay, so track you're dealing with bad females based on everything I heard tonight.
Dang.
They might be fine, but you know
Take
um
that bitch to a food
yeah,
truck.
that's how you
Oh
test.
no,
Like,
no, no. That's what I'm saying. That's where if it's somebody that like holds my interest, that's usually outside of, you know how you were saying phone conversations. I do that. I'll after phone conversations, I'll go back and I'll reflect on our conversations, our engagements, you know, the vibes and stuff and how it was. But usually that's my recommendations is
But I
somewhere
don't
out
know
or if
anybody
it's
that
in.
goes on a date and goes straight to eat though.
right, that's what I'm saying. You go for a walk.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I mean, you do
I'm
something,
very
but
outdoorsy, naturey. Like my whole thing that I do as far as YouTube as well. Like even my content I film is all outdoors. Like I'm big on pushing and being more
I get
holistic
that.
and
But
more in
all
nature.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm not that much older than you, so I won't insult you. But all I'm trying to say is,
Hello,
eventually, the time
motherfucker.
you spend with that with that woman, y'all ain't gonna get hungry. So say you pick the, I'm gonna start calling her bitch. Say you pick her up at 7:30, and you're like, hey, can we go look at the museum, King Tut in town, whatever. Y'all at the museum, y'all yapping it up. Y'all might get something to drink. Then you go on the tent tour. You get outside. It's 8:30. Not only are you hungry from walking around the museum, she's probably hungry. So it just kind of falls into, you gonna be like, well, I'm hungry now. I'm gonna drop you off. That makes you a chump. Then you're gonna be like, what? Why did we just go eat? Like, find a
Yeah.
food truck.
The question was
depends
really
on
just
how.
abroad because that's not really like my process that I go about. I'll do like a juice bar because I'm
Oh,
not big
I
on
get it.
coffee. So I'll do the juice bar, but I got a lot of other buddies who that's usually their first thing. I see a lot of content in other females, that's
Yeah, they
their
need to
first thing.
stop. That's
Well,
stupid.
I think
And I
tracking.
had one recommend that she didn't like outdoors. She wanted to go out to eat. And
She
that
don't
wasn't
like
my
to work
vibe.
out
So I
either.
just
Dump
left
that
that
bitch.
one where it was
Tell
at.
him I said dump her. She don't like to be outside. She gonna get fat.
Yeah. Nah, that one was cut off. That one's cut. I don't play
Well,
that.
track. I think the problem is that we don't acknowledge that process. We'll acknowledge the other process before acknowledging that process. So now, with us doing that, men think that that's the process that we're supposed to do, when it's not. That's the complete opposite. So if we're going off of what the woman expects for us to do on the date, then we're not leading into the date. We're not leading into whatever this relationship may be.
Thank
You
you.
you want to
That
go to
bitch
the
better go where
Cheesecake
you
Factory?
take her.
Or you want to go to the Cheesecake Factory? Oh, good for you. We're going to go to this museum, or we're going to go to this coffee shop, or we're going to go here. And if you don't want to do it, then clearly you're not interested in me, and clearly I'm wasting my time with you. So let's not even waste each other's time. So it's one of those deals of, yeah, I'm sure you shared. I saw you share the Cheesecake Factory video, but I don't give a fuck about that. That's not what I do. This is what I do. Do you want to do this? Oh, you don't want to do this? Okay, all right. It was nice meeting you. On to the next.
Easy way to make cuts.
Man, look, I want to talk about this awkward silence y'all talking about, man. I mean, I know they happen as part of life, but what you need to do is grab at that woman's hand, look in the eye, then plant a kiss on her cheek, and then see where it goes from there. That's what you do. Don't you see an opportunity for awkward silence? That's all right. You put your hand on her hand, say, baby, don't be afraid. I'm gentle as a kid. You lay a kiss on her goddamn cheek. And let's go. Pull on out the, you know what I'm saying?
Dangerous. That's a little dangerous, brother.
Ass in the
No,
behind Jill with the wrong one on the first
it's,
date.
Y'all be like they going to put you in
dangerous for y'all.
jail for.
It's dangerous for y'all, but it's not dangerous for when he was out there. No, it wasn't dangerous at all. But I'm telling you what you do. You put that paw on her. See what she do. She got a little shake to her. She feeling good, but then all of a sudden, her body just relaxed.
Wait. On the first date?
Hell
Sometimes you can, depending on the vibe.
I'm talking about anytime. I'm talking about anytime there's an awkward silence, just to reassure.
But you even know what time she on yet? You don't even know yet.
That's why you supposed to be on the phone with her.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is why you could tell a masculine man from these weak ass dudes I'm talking about. He's scared and nervous. I'm not gonna do it. Look, if she says she ain't
sure, you sure, Hink? Hink, are you sure?
Come on, man. If you heard that motherfucker sits down to pee. If he's not sure, go in. The worst she can tell you is no. Don't act like you ain't never heard the word no before. You keep it moving.
Now, I agree with you making the move. I agree with you making the move, but on the first date, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? You try to figure out what I want.
Bro, why the fuck else would she be there?
Like Track just said, he takes women on dates for food. I don't know.
Bro,
no, I don't take them for food. We hitting crabs.
We have the opportunity
we may
for
hit
this
a juice
woman
bar
to go out on a date with you. She said yes to you to going out on a date with you. That means that she's invested.
No, she could just be on a date because she's bored. She could just be bored. You know what I mean? Not me. I'm not saying me.
If she's on the date because she's bored, then that's a you problem. That's a problem where you didn't do
whatever, Cookie. You lied to men and took them on dates. You didn't like them, so stop the cap.
Huh?
You've taken men on dates that you did not like, so stop.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
No,
See,
I
I
haven't.
never
Every
been on
woman
a
have
date
done
that
it.
they didn't
I
like
have
me.
not done that. The fact that
You've
you
never
think that
taken a
is
man on a
crazy,
date that
though.
you did not really have no interest in, but you just went
That's
on a date.
weird.
No.
I don't believe that. That's cap. You've done.
Why?
You
That's
sure? You
cap.
sure, Hank? Hank, are you sure?
I think you've done it before. That's
And
why
and
you
look,
know. That's why you're telling us.
No, I
y'all not heard
haven't.
what I
That's why
said.
you're
I didn't
telling
say
us what
take
to
a
look
kiss
out
on
for.
the lips.
No, no,
Nobody
I'm
said
a
that.
woman. I
I
have
said kiss
female
that
friends.
chick on the cheeks. Kiss on the cheek, man. You ain't kissing on the
Nah,
lip.
I'm sitting here giving
Cookie,
y'all free game, and you're
Cookie.
accusing me.
Just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. You've been
I
on a
have not
date.
done that.
You've been on a
I don't
date
do
with a
that to
guy.
humans.
You know you didn't really like him, but it was a good activity. You were bored at home. It's cool.
Hungry down.
I'm gonna go out with this guy and have a good night. You've done that before.
No, I have not. I'm sitting here telling you, I don't even barely leave my house. I'm a coach. So for me to waste my time, I don't get bored. Like I'm out here coaching. I'm a coach and I'm a teacher. So for me to actually be on the phone, talk to somebody and go out on a date, get dressed up to look nice, that takes a lot of my time and effort. So no, I have not done that. And the fact that you think that at least every woman on earth has done that at least once, that's
At least
insane.
once.
Every
At
guy that
least
I've
once.
been on a date
At
with,
least once.
I
Yeah.
was interested in.
I think
But
every
look,
woman's done it at least once. Yes.
straight like that. You look, if you going in for the kiss, she sees you coming in for the kiss. Now, if she backs up and kind of shows some type of resistance, then dog, don't proceed with it. But if she's not, and she seems like she's with it, she ain't moved her face, she ain't moved away, she ain't doing none of that. Make your move, scaredy cat. You'll be fine.
No,
You
I agree
sure,
with you,
Hank?
but
Hank, are you
not all
sure?
men have game. Like, some guys have game where they can
I know.
talk to a woman for like a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying some dudes, they're nervous.
See, I
We
never
talked about it
believed
on
in
Tuesday.
game. It's just
So,
about
so you
communicating and just
Yeah,
don't.
we
being your
talked about it
truth.
on
Well,
King
I
well,
Talk.
never
turn the
really
Some of these
understood
cats
the
tables.
don't know
being
how
in a
to
game
talk.
thing.
They
Whatever,
scared to even
Cookie.
open the
You
goddamn
use
mouth.
dates. Stop playing. Whatever, Cookie.
Man, I'm gonna have to roll.
Your name is Cookie for crying out. What happened? Well, you know that nursery rhyme, the cookie jar?
Let's stay off
Who
of her,
took the
man. Let's
cookie from the
focus on
cookie?
Tell his
look,
ass he don't
straight
want
up
it.
like this, straight like this.
My
Stop
mama
worrying
gave me
about what
this
she did
nickname.
and what she doing. I'm telling you right now, man, put your move in.
No,
Stop acting.
brother, I'm good. I'm
We get
good.
it.
No,
Is
you're not
we not
good.
gonna worry about her.
But you
We
not
I'm
talking
good,
about
bro.
the
He's
ones.
saying
We
that it
talking about
feels
the ones
good.
you going out with. And if
No, I
you
know.
could
I'm
trust,
good. I don't have those problems.
okay,
I don't
well
have
that's
those
what I'm
problems.
talking about. You heard what Viz said. Have conversation. I'm not waiting till I'm going out to dinner to have a conversation with no woman. I'm gonna know about before I go out on this date, right?
Yeah.
And then when I get out on the date, I'm gonna reiterate some of the conversation that we had on the phone to make sure she ain't talking shit or just telling me I want to hear what I want to hear and see if she's consistent and see if he's real. Now, if she show me ain't real during that conversation, I'm gonna leave her ass at the goddamn restaurant. If the conversation going to pretty much about the same what we did on the phone, that lets me know, okay, I got one here. Let me proceed.
And women have to do the same thing because we have the JJs and we just trying to make sure dude ain't just trying to crack. Cause some dude,
Nah. See, it depends on what kind of guy you are. Cause what I've run into a lot lately, past few years, is I may want something long term, but the women are looking at me like a piece of meat, how I used to do it on the other side of the spectrum. So I'm thinking that they engaging with me because they want to see what's up, and if we could build something the whole time, they just want the wood.
where you find these women at the hair store?
They just want the wood. I literally been used like a piece of meat before, and I'm just sitting over here like, damn. So that's what they feel like. I used to feel good about it. Now I feel like shit. I'm sitting
I
there
just
like,
said, okay, I
damn.
just said that. Yo,
I'm
stop.
one of them little
Where are
baby
you meeting these women
Mexicans.
at, bro?
They literally just used me.
No,
That's
but where are you
crazy.
meeting these women? Where are you getting these women from?
Man, they find me. They
They
just find
find
me.
you? That's a red flag right there, bro.
They just find me. I could be out in public. I'm either at the stores, I could be out on my trails. I've had them find me through my content, my
Nah,
YouTube.
you gotta,
It's
leave
from
them
every
alone.
app, from
Yeah.
every app. Not saying they all that way, but that is a thing to where women talk about their box. But then you got certain men who just have it there, and it's like, yo, I done had so much fun that I don't need to rack up 1,000 numbers.
Well,
So
I
JR,
just
you
want
remember
somebody I
Scott?
could chill and vibe with, and if it bounce around from there, cool. But now it's like,
So I know where she get that.
So
She
JR,
said,
you
"How
remember what
tall
I
are
talked
you?"
about yesterday? How these young cats, they scared. I said these women are more masculine and aggressive than these men are. They're
hey,
supposed
they
to talk to
are.
them.
They are.
I said that. I said that to JR. I talk to these young boys.
They
My sons, these high school boys, and all the way up to college age. I talk to them. I listen to them. I pay attention to them. And I heard how they talk and how they move. Man, they don't do it. They hesitate. They
women
nervous.
don't hesitate. I done been at clubs years ago when I used to do the scene. They'll walk past me. If they see what they like, they grab my wood. They just grab it. Now, if I would have grabbed somebody by they pussy, it would be problems. But they just come through. I got rubbed on at a 7-Eleven by a dyke female that clearly looked like a guy. And it was so fucking awkward. And people were just laughing, but I could tell it was a female, but it was just, I don't know what the fuck it was. It was just so annoying that this was happening. I'm sitting here talking to the people when they left out, like,
Yo, where you
that
from,
would have
brother?
been sexual
Where you from?
harassment if I would have did that to her, vice versa.
Where you
Regardless if
from?
she's
He said he
presenting
from
herself
Virginia. He in
as
I'm
the
never
Virginia.
going.
agenda,
I'm
like
never
you said.
going to. I'm not
Straight
going
like
there.
that. He wants to be harassed like that. That's why he asking.
Nah,
Right.
hell nah.
He
When you
Hell
go
no,
through
nah,
that shit
brother. I'm
enough,
not going.
it's really
I'm
getting
not.
away for real, because you don't get away with
he
half the
finna
shit
dress
that they
up
can get
just like
away with.
this
Hey,
shit. Finna throw the hat on backwards and
yeah.
everything.
He heading on down to Virginia tonight.
Hey, look, he's still gonna turn his head on Big Houston.
Hey, he finna turn his hat
I'm gonna
backwards and
say something, and
everything.
then
Like,
I
hey,
gotta go.
little mama, I
I'm
got this
from the
Stella
South.
Rose. Little mama, go through.
It's not Stellar. It's not Stellar Rose.
Hey, wait.
Man,
I'm gonna say something because I gotta go. Like, I'm from the South. I don't know if I'm an anomaly. I know a lot of women down here like this, but unless you come up on like a stripper, you know what I'm saying, or something like that in Houston, that's kind of like the type of women that you're talking about, I think. But
When
like we used to get taught. I had a dad too. You know what I'm saying? So we're not just running up. I don't approach men like that. Like I've never approached a man. Like
the
I don't
new
walk up to
women
men and be
are.
like, "Hey, handsome." I don't do that. I don't do it at the club. I don't do it at work. I don't do it at the grocery store. If I feel like if a man want to talk to me, he'll come talk to me.
so
So
if you see a man that you're interested in, you wouldn't approach him. You wouldn't give him any signals.
I would
Anything.
definitely give him some signals. I make eye contact. I might follow him down a couple of aisles, but I'm not gonna say much. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel. I
He
mean, I
asked.
think so. I think the with the game being different, as he acknowledged, I agree with him. With the current age, especially with social media, I personally think most men are intimidated with approaching women because they're scared. They're afraid of the rejection or potentially going through whatever backlash that this woman may do. You know what I'm saying? If she does reject them,
Oh,
I think because of that, women are now being taking the more hunter role to where it's like, okay, well, I see this man, he's not willing to approach me. So I'm gonna let him know, like, hey, shorty, I want that, you know what I'm saying, type move. That's not uncommon in this day and age. Women are 100% a lot more bolder and straight to the point,
that's
especially
wild.
because of social media. I think on both sides, right? We got men that we know good and goddamn well they can't pull this woman in real life, but
Right.
because they're on social media, they gonna hit them up like, "Hey, what that mouth do? Hey, shorty, what you on? Where you at?" You know what I'm saying? They gonna say this off the wall ass shit. So now women are just as bold because it's like, hey, well, shit, if that's what they doing, then hey, he
The
don't
most
make this move, then hey, dark skin. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They go
the most
you
they
the
know what I'm saying?
most
are
They
I'm
go
gonna
with this
aggressive.
do
move.
The most that I will do is play damsel in distress, like reaching for something I can't reach,
My
looking
girl. My
confused
girl.
in Home Depot when I know where everything's
I'll come help
at.
you.
You
Yeah,
know,
See, I
I'll
find
help
that
you.
attractive. I'll
Yeah,
shoot my shot if it's enough signals with that right there. Even if
you're
I'm
right. You're right.
unsure, if I feel like it's coming my way, I'll go over there and shoot my shot if I'm interested.
wear the tightest jeans you can to the store. Always look nice. You know, make it
But
hard for them not to say something.
track. I would agree with you. I would agree with you. Women are bolder.
Not
They
me.
are shooting their shot for sure. But the women that are extra thirsty to get your attention, a lot of dudes think because they get that type of attention that they got game. No, that might be a setup. You
It
see what I'm
is.
saying?
I done
So
had
you so
all my
so
tires slashing, car key card, and some
yeah,
more stuff. But no,
you got to
I'm
be
good.
careful. You got to be careful because
Well, no,
any real woman is gonna want you to, do something.
no, track. The reason why Shorty keyed your car is because you know what I'm saying, you damn near raw dogged it. You went balls deep in the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You know you was bogus as hell. You know good and goddamn well you wasn't supposed to do that, but
You
you
let
did
her
it
light off.
anyway.
Hey,
Told her she had to bounce.
hey, I
You know what
had
I'm
all
saying?
four
Come on,
tires
man.
flat, and it was crazy. Man, I done been through enough that I'm cool. That's why I said like I
Yo,
just want to
Virginia got
chill.
some
Like I'm
some
trying to be
really
on
pretty
y'all
women
stages where
though.
we could just chill. Like I done ripped and ran. Like I'm good in that department. I like to have my fun occasionally, but it would be nice to just be able to, you know what I mean? Just have your other piece right there that's supposed to, I could do my part as the man, she can do her part as the female without all the extracurricular stuff in the
Go ahead
middle.
and
I'm
say it,
saying
Track.
no
I'm
track,
the
but it's
victim.
Yeah,
I'm the victim.
I couldn't tell nobody. I couldn't tell nobody. I feel like I promise you, I done been in positions where females done took advantage of me, but because my guy wakes up, they feel like, oh no, you didn't. I didn't do that. And I'm like,
track. Come on, man. You know good and damn well you've been on this planet for 39 years. You know
bro,
good and damn well that you can't do what you're doing, bro. And you keep doing it and expecting for something else to happen.
you
And that's
said you
why
can't.
that's why you keep going to get new tires and new windows and all this other shit. Because you keep doing the same shit over and over, thinking it's
Hey,
gonna change.
hey, what's crazy about that one is, right? This one was something different. She met me through my channel. I ducked her for months. She was messaging me on Instagram, finally messaged her back. She was in Maryland. She was driving out her way for me. One day I just randomly get up, me and my daughter at the house. I go outside to get ready to run to the store, do something. Car sitting on flats. She was pretending to speak my language and be in the same stuff that I'm into and all this stuff, and she turned out to be the same as the other one that I just met at her workplace.
But she was fine, right? Like she had a body. Be real,
Yeah, but it was more so about her being like more spiritually grounded and connected on the
brother.
outside.
But you see why she
Those
but
first
hold
ones,
on,
bro.
track. She
Them
pulled
the
up, right?
first
She pulled up,
ones.
right?
Yeah.
You talking about the ones that's grounded with the waist beads around them. You know what I'm saying? They under the hip.
Yeah.
Bro,
Hold
come
on, Biz,
on,
Biz,
man.
Biz,
Bro,
Biz, Biz, Biz,
you've
Biz,
been
Biz.
on this year. You've been on this
No, track.
39
The
years.
reason why she
Good
pulled
and
up, right?
goddamn well. That
Yeah.
You know
those
why she
type of
pulled up, right?
Why?
Because she knew if he could just see the wagon, your manhood's gonna come into play.
That's why I'm very cautious now.
That's why sometimes you gotta be like, okay, all right, I'm just not. It happens to every man. I'm pretty sure all these brothers could tell you
not at
that there's
39.
a certain female that they can literally, as Viz would put it, crack. But in order to just not get into no issues, I'm just gonna stay away from you.
It's
Big
not even
discipline.
staying away from them. It's understanding how to handle not only that type of woman, but women in general. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you just met her, you've been dodging her I'm pretty sure this is how it worked. You've been dodging her. So you just so happen to respond. Hey, where you at? I'm here. She pull up. You crack on the first night. You know good and damn well you weren't supposed to crack on the first night. And now your tire slashed. And now you like, oh damn, she got me again.
But Viz, I just said it. But Viz, why did he do that? It's
All
because
my
she pulled
females I
up.
crack
She
on the
pulled up,
first
right?
night.
That's
She pulled up.
Problem, bro. That's the
Yes,
problem.
it is. It is the problem. Like the brother, Hink just said it. He said, "I won't deal with a female until I talk to her and get to know her. Then on the date, I'll know what I want." I know Track when he saw that female, he already knew her Instagram. He already knew what she looked like, and he was always like, "Damn, if she was here right now, I'd probably
No,
crack."
her Instagram, she covered up. She even was like, used to be Muslims, but she still wore the head wraps. Like she covered herself. She presented herself the way I envisioned a woman present
Yeah, but
herself.
I'm saying you're attracted to her from initially, right?
What was inside that box was completely different. Yeah.
Are you Muslim, bro? Are you Muslim?
No, I'm not. I'm just I believe in the Creator and the Most High, so I'm what they would call spiritual. Like I don't follow any religions, but I do look into all religions, and what I do on my channel is I try to bring all religions together.
So, and that's fair. I'm
We'll
with
see
you.
super chats to you.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. Mr. Voter 125 foreign currency. In most couples in society, a man earns more than the woman. That's not a coincidence. Tuck your tampons and repeat after me, guys. Women want providers. Mont 499. Even if we made the same amount, we are not 50-50. Man is the head and leader, the CEO. Mr. Travolta. If in general, if a woman earns more than you in a relationship, she cannot respect you. It's as simple as that, but FBAs don't get it. Boss up. Mr. Travolta again, straight like that, you 100%. Watch what women do, not what they say. Just look outside. In most couples, most men earn more than most women. Why? Mr. Travolta, Brokey say she doesn't want me for my money. You can add $2. Cookie, go to sleep. Mr. Travolta 125, we should have a son-husband crisis. If these are the thoughts of Black men in America, we are doomed. You should want to provide for your woman. That is what a man is. You can name $2 says masculinity, confidence, resolve, and truth. They got $11, $10. I don't drink, but whatever Viz is sipping on, give me a duck for that for real. He walking on the ceiling. And lastly, Brano, appreciate you, sir. Also a member, $5 super sticker. Thank you. I want to thank everybody that has contributed to the platforms. Make sure we support each other, support everybody on the platform, follow the IGs, YouTube channels, all that good stuff. And we live tomorrow, man, a Thursday show. So see y'all tomorrow. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening.
Yes,
Good night.